Yeah, this is case number 250 on the calendar in the matter of DePietro versus Rathbun. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Have a seat.
Mr. DiPietro, according to what I read, you were going on vacation and you wanted to sort of redo your body. You saw an advertisement. The advertisement was from the defendant's company. It indicated that if you used her body wraps, that you would take instantly inches off your frame. You went to her, you got the body wrap, you were dissatisfied with the service which was, according to you, guaranteed by the defendant. You felt sort of intimidated when the session was over, and you did pay her. I think the session was $80, $85, is that right? But you got home and you stopped payment on the check. The defendant was furious that you stopped payment on the check, and according to her, after some efforts to try to get you to pay, she filed a complaint with the police.
Correct.
I don't know what the nature of the complaint was, but you were contacted by the police and told that a warrant was issued for your arrest and you should come in and turn yourself in. Did you go and turn yourself in?
Yes, I did.
And you were searched, you were detained for a period of time, and ultimately the police said to you that if you want this whole thing to go away, you'll give her the money, which you did, and she dropped the charges. The police let you go. You are suing her for the following: for the return of your $85, but that's a small part of your complaint, and the rest of your lawsuit has to do with the humiliation that you suffered as a result of the arrest, because it's your claim that the defendant breached her contract to you, which was a guarantee of success. You said that the treatment was not successful. The defendant has a counterclaim, I don't know, loss of income. It's a nonsense counterclaim. I don't understand her counterclaim. She'll explain it to me. So let me see how you found the defendant.
This is my evidence.
Just show me the ad. This is clear. Not only is it an offer, but it says that there is a guarantee that you lose 10 inches today, guaranteed, non-surgically. And this is what you saw.
Yes.
Okay, so tell me what happened when you went to see the defendant.
When I went to see her, also she told me when I called her about the ad, I was kind of skeptical about the ad, and I said, how can you lose that? And she said, oh, you can lose 10 to 30 inches, check out my website. So I went to the website, and this was on her website. This says 10 to 30 inches. And it says guaranteed on there too. So she told me I had nothing to lose because it was guaranteed, and she told me, or my money back. So I made an appointment. Before the body wrap started, I asked her again, this is guaranteed. We sat down. She said, oh yes, it's definitely guaranteed. Look, you have the ad and everything. It was.
You have the ad. Listen to me, Ms. DiPietro. I don't want you to embellish anything. Do you understand? There are certain things that make sense, and there are certain things that don't make sense. You have the ad. The ad says guaranteed. Don't fabricate anything.
I'm not fabricating anything.
Yeah, okay. I'm just warning you. Don't fabricate anything about sitting down, getting the wrap, and talking about guaranteed again. Just tell me the truth. The truth is what's going to save you today. Do you understand?
Yes, I am telling the truth.
Okay. Then, you went to see her. And what happened when you took the body wrap?
She wrapped me up like a mummy from head to toe in these wet ace bandages. The only thing that was showing was my eyes. It was ice cold. She then proceeded, well, first she measured me, and she marked it where she measured me. And she had left the tape measure very loose when she first measured me. She was on the phone the whole time. She was measuring me, talking to some friends, laughing and everything else. And I was freezing at this point, the air conditioner's on, and soaking wet. Then she puts plastic bags on my hands and my feet to catch the water, and then an elastic. So now I'm walking like a mummy, water's dripping from me. Then she tells me to go exercise for almost an hour on an exercise machine.
What kind of exercise machine?
I think it was like one of those ski things, and then she had the steppers. She told me to pick out whatever I wanted, and so I did that for almost an hour. I fell off a couple of times because it was so wet. My feet, I had water dripping off me.
Got it.
So she said, the more you exercise, the harder you do. Oh, you'll get even more than the 10 inches. So I did do that as hard as I could. Then when the time was up, she put me behind a curtain and they unwrapped me. And then she measured me again, this time pulling the tape measure very tight. When she was done, I said, so did I lose? What did I lose? And I looked in the mirror right away. I knew. I said, I looked the exact same way. I said, well, you know, didn't I lose the 10 inches at least? And she said, no, you didn't. She goes, but I'll have to add it up, but I don't think you did. And I said, what? And she said, well, just go change. Never mind that. We'll talk about it when you're done. So I went and changed. I met her. She said, meet me back at my desk. So I changed up. I dried off the whole bit. I met her back there. And I asked her if I lost the 10 inches. She said, well, no, you didn't. And I said, well, then I'm not paying. And she said, well, you have to pay. I said, you told me it was guaranteed or I don't have to pay. And she said, no, I waived the guarantee. I said, when did you waive the guarantee? I never heard, you never said that to me. She goes, oh yeah, I mentioned it when I was wrapping you because your legs are too thin. Believe me, my legs are not too thin.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I have the right to waive the guarantee.
No, you can't waive a guarantee.
I wouldn't have wrapped her.
Pay careful attention to me.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Michelle DePietro says esthetician Claudia Rathbun guaranteed she'd lose 10 inches with her herbal body wrap. Michelle claims Claudia won't honor her guarantee.
First of all, who do you work for?
I own the company, the Millennium Body. I am a licensee of a international company that provides these mineral body wraps. I've been doing the mineral body wraps for 3.5 years. I got involved in this business because of the results I obtained with the body wrap.
Okay, fine. Your ad says guaranteed. She says you didn't get the 10 to 30 inches that you say she was going to realize, and therefore she didn't want to pay you. Now, tell me about this waiver of the guarantee.
Okay. The guarantee is based upon head-to-toe measurements. There are 18 measurements from head to toe.
I understand now. I think that this is slightly deceptive. The advertising.
Okay.
Oh, yes, it is. Because when I look at that and I look at your picture, you see, and you said lose 10 inches, this lady looks like she's lost 10 inches around her waist.
Okay.
Pay careful attention to me, madam.
I am.
So when someone looks at this, they say, well, I'm going to lose 10 inches around my waist and my midsection. That would be terrific. What you're saying is, in the small print, which doesn't appear in this ad, you'll take measurement from the arm, measurement from the lower arm, measurement from the wrist, a measurement from the neck, a measurement from the bust, a measurement from here, measurement from the hip, a measurement from the thigh, a measurement from the calf, a measurement from the ankle, and all that is going to add up to 10 inches at the end of this wrap. Okay. When I say it's slightly deceptive, your picture is, along with the word guarantee, is deceptive. You have to understand that. It's designed to make it look as if you're going to lose weight and it's not going to be around your eyeballs. Okay. So, what I want to know is, when do you claim she waived the guarantee?
Okay. When Michelle met me, I arrived at my salon at the same time Michelle did, and we had a conversation explaining the procedure about body composition plays a part on whether one would get the 10-inch guarantee.
I don't believe that. Listen to me. I'm going to tell you what I told her. If you're trying to get a customer into your salon, you don't tell...
Sorry.
I don't believe that you told her on the phone that the guarantee really wasn't a guarantee. Not until she got there, if you told her at all. When she got there, maybe, if you said to me, when she got there, I said, well, I looked at your legs are too skinny, you may not get the 10 inches, but I don't believe, because common sense suggests to me, and my age suggests to me, that when you're in business and you're offering a guarantee and you got a live one on the phone, you're going to tell them, well, we made a mistake in the ad, there's no guarantee. So, let's get real. She comes into this, you didn't tell her on the phone that there was no guarantee. Let's get to when she came into the salon.
Okay, well, I'm sorry you don't believe me in that regard.
I don't.
But there is the script
I don't.
that we're going
No normal person is going to believe you that you put ads all over the place with a guarantee, and as soon as somebody calls you up on the telephone, you see how you're smiling? As soon as you get somebody on the telephone, you say, I just want to let you know before you come in, there is no guarantee. Let's get on. Let's get on and let's get real. You're a businesswoman.
It is not a miracle. It is not a miracle.
This, madam, is a miracle. Somebody can come in and get wrapped up for an hour and come out 10 inches slimmer.
From head to toe.
10 inches slimmer is a miracle. Is a miracle. That's what she came in for. She came in for a miracle. I mean, she may be a little bit of a wacky coming in for this kind of a miracle. I think she probably is a little bit of a wacky. Tell me about the guarantee and make it good.
All righty. We have them fill out a questionnaire which goes through how much they weigh, whether they're taking any medication.
Okay, I got it. I'll take a look at the questionnaire.
There's also a section number 11 which indicates target areas of desirous inch
Let me
loss,
see that, please.
which is filled out by
Let me see.
the patron.
I just want to see it. She filled this out, but I see she didn't sign it.
She did not purchase a package.
She didn't.
Of wraps.
Okay.
So that's the instance when she would sign that. Because this is a program. This is not a one-time deal where someone will lose a size in one wrap.
No. That's not what you say here, madam. That's clearly not what you say here. Let me read exactly what you say here. I understand that individual results may vary based on body composition and body size.
Correct.
I understand that the written inch loss guarantee applies to the first wrap only.
Correct.
Head to toe measurements. So what this says in plain English is you are guaranteeing 10-inch results for the first wrap. And you signed it.
But I have the right to waive the guarantee.
No, you can't waive a guarantee. Only she can waive the guarantee.
I wouldn't have wrapped her.
Pay careful attention to me.
Okay.
If I buy a car. No, make it better. Bird buys a car, because I want him to pay attention. Bird buys a car, a brand new car. That car is guaranteed from stem to stern for 3 years. He has the car for 1 week. The car blows up. He takes the car back to the dealership, and the dealership says, we waived the guarantee for your car because we knew when it came off the assembly line that the guy who was putting it together was really not wrapped too tight. So we waived the guarantee. What do you think he would do? What would you do, Bert?
I'll take it to Judge Judy.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Michelle DePietro says esthetician Claudia Rathbun owes for an herbal body wrap that didn't work.
You cannot waive a guarantee. Somebody gave you very, very bad legal advice if they told you that you can make a guarantee here and then you, not the customer, could waive the guarantee. And I don't know whoever did that, but they got their legal license and closed the cover before you strike school. Do you understand? Okay. So you cannot waive the guarantee. Now, she paid you. Why did you pay her?
Because she told me, she said, you have to pay me. And I said, but you didn't meet your agreement. And she said, oh yeah, I waived it. Didn't you hear me when I was wrapping you? I said, no.
So you paid her.
She started to get extremely rude. And then she said, you're offending me. And then she said, you need to pay or I'm going to call the police. So being afraid, I've never been in trouble in my entire life except for maybe a car ticket or something.
Did you ever say to her, you better pay or I'll call the police?
No, ma'am.
No, of course you didn't. I told you before, Miss DiPietro. Do not lie to me. And how do I know she's never said to you, you better pay or I'll call the police? Because you didn't put that in your complaint, which I read very carefully. I told you, tell the truth. You don't seem to be losing, but if you lie, you will. Do you understand?
Yes.
Right. See, I told her the same thing.
But she is very intimidating, Your Honor.
She may be intimidating, and I believe she may be intimidating, or you may have been intimidated, but she never threatened to call the police. In any event, you paid her the $85, and then you went home and stopped payment on the check. That's what happened. Now, I want to see the complaint you filed with the police.
I didn't file a complaint per se to the police department.
What did you do?
When someone stops a payment or I get a bad check, we contact the local police department, the fraud unit.
Just a minute. There's a difference between a stop payment and a bad check.
Well, I asked the police department whether the procedure would be the same for a stop payment.
That's baloney. I don't believe that.
Well,
that's baloney.
Why not?
Don't believe it.
I asked them whether the procedure would be the same. They checked the general laws of the state of Rhode Island and said yes. So the procedure.
Let me see what the general laws say.
I don't have the general.
Then I don't believe you, madam, because it's common sense.
There's my email. There's my letter to Michelle, which was sent certified.
I don't care about your letter. You mean you were not asked to go in to file a complaint?
It wasn't a complaint. It was trying to collect the funds for a service rendered.
The police departments don't do that unless you know a cop.
That's exactly.
Unless you know a police officer, police departments don't try to collect. They send you to civil court.
No, Your Honor, not in the state of Rhode Island. Your first course of action is to send a certified letter to the person who writes a check that is not cashable or a stop payment. I've done this a few times with some bad checks.
Bad checks is different.
I've never had this instance before where someone stopped payment. But
you're going to listen to me. You're going to be successful because she played fast and loose. She told them she got a bad check and they brought you in. That's what happened.
No, I didn't.
Oh, I believe that that's true. I don't see anything different from you, madam. Police department does not handle stop payments. Stop payments are handled by civil courts. Bad checks are handled by the police department. Somebody passes a bogus check. She did not. She gave you a perfectly valid check to get out of your establishment and decided to stop payment on it because she decided that you violated the guarantee. You did not get the check back marked insufficient funds or no account by this person. You got the check back saying payment stopped. That leaves you a civil recourse because in the state of Rhode Island, which is last I heard, part of the United States of America, they do have civil courts. They do have small claims courts where you could go to get it. This was just easier for you. Easier for you to follow the same procedure as you had followed before, which is you call somebody at the police department and says, listen, I got another bad check. So you're suing for $1,500.
Correct.
You're going to get it. You're going to get it. You did the wrong thing. What you do is if you have a civil complaint, you go to civil court. You don't call your local friend at the police department. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500. That's all. Step back. Counterclaims dismissed.
Comfy?
Thank you.
Your Honor, this is case number 228 on the calendar in the matter of Haas versus Terhune.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat, please.
Mr. Haas, was this the gentleman who was with you at the movie theater on the day of the incident?
Yes, ma'am.
According to your complaint, Mr. Haas, the defendant assaulted you by spilling soda on your head in the movie theater. And you were injured. Your eye became infected. Something happened to your eye as a result of that. I read the defendant's answer, and quite frankly, she doesn't deny that she did it. But in effect, her defense is that you're a crybaby, it's no big deal. Is that what your defense is? Yeah, that's what I figured. I don't know how that's going to fly, but we're going to find out. I'm not going to start with you.
Okay.
I'm going to start with Mr. Terhune. First, I want you to tell me how old you are.
38.
You work?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a technician on computers.
Tell me when you went to the movies on the day that you came into contact with Mr. Haas. What date was that?
I don't remember. He says it was the 7th of November.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. What movie were you going to see?
Frida.
Good movie. For what performance did you buy a
It's
ticket?
the first one, like 11 o'clock, I think, or
in the morning.
Yeah.
Busy theater?
Not a lot of people that day, maybe 30 people.
Now, you arrived at the theater, bought your ticket, and went and took a seat. 30 people, so the theater wasn't full. When did Mr. Haas arrive?
Probably 5 minutes after the movie had started, and it just took him a little bit to settle in.
Where did they settle in? Right in front of you?
In front of me and down maybe 6 seats, probably.
Tell me what happened.
They were talking, and they weren't I mean, at first it was like, we have our seats now and that kind of thing. But then they kept talking. It wasn't about the movie. They were talking about how they got there and things like that. They were just chatting. And people were staring at them. Finally, I said, please be quiet. And Mr. Haas turned to me and said, we're not being loud enough to disturb you. So then they were quiet for like 10 minutes, and I didn't care. If he had to call me so he'd be quiet, I didn't care.
Okay.
But then they started again. And again, it wasn't, what did she say or anything? It was just chit-chat. So I got up to leave. I figured I'm not going to be happy here. There's no point. And as I walked past, I walked right past his head. And I had a big soda in my hand, and I poured it over his head.
Shh. Okay.
So then he, people laughed, and he jumped up and said, you're going to go to jail for assault if I have anything to say about it, and started running and carrying on. And I was leaving, and he was following me, and I figured he's just going to get my license plate, and he can call the police and tell them what a mean lady I am. And instead, I had this book bag. It was heavy enough that it carried books in it. It wasn't like a shopping bag or anything, but it was made out of like a plastic material. And he grabbed it and ripped it in half. I don't have it. I gave it to the police. I wasn't sure if I could take him physically, so I decided to just wait for the police to get there.
And they came and they issued citations to both of you?
At his insistence.
Okay. Mr. Haas, let's take it step by step. Did you arrive 5 minutes after the movie started?
The credits were still rolling.
I don't care whether 5 minutes after the movie started, you arrived.
About?
Why?
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 Well, it was actually the right time to arrive.
Why?
Well, we didn't have to watch the previews.
Yeah, but people got to a movie theater and they settled in, and the movie theater went dark, and then you decide, quite selfishly, to arrive. If you said to me, you didn't mean to arrive late, we just arrived late because we hit traffic or the car wouldn't start or whatever, what you're telling me is you don't have to go in to see the credits and to hear the opening salvo. You just get there when the first word is uttered. So it was the right time. You planned it that way.
Yes.
Well, that's rude. Very rude. And when you sat down, were you speaking to your friend?
A few words.
Why? You've already been rude, arriving late. Other people are there. 30 people arrived on time, settled themselves down. Not only do you arrive late so that your big bodies are blocking the screen so that people can't see it as you're going to sit down in your seats, but you sit down and then you start to talk.
There were only half a dozen people in the theater, and our big
difference
bodies,
does it make? There were more than you.
and our bodies didn't block any screen viewing
How do you know that?
because there was only half a dozen people in the theater.
Mr. Haas, so you telling me that your chatter didn't bother anybody else because there were only 6 people in the theater?
A word or two passed between friends isn't chatter.
I don't believe that that's what happened, Mr. Haas. I don't believe that. And I'm not even going to ask him because you didn't say, glad we got here, fine, and I'm going to be quiet. You were talking to him. She asked you to be quiet. And according to you, you said, not talking loud enough to bother you. And you did call her a name. You acknowledge that. Is that
Yes.
right? Well, you're rude and disrespectful. I'm not saying that she had any right whatsoever to do what she did. But I want to tell you something. Most of the people who are sitting here in the courthouse today, as well as Bird, certainly myself, have been in positions where we've gone to the theater, we're respecting the rights of others, and some people who are totally self-absorbed, selfish people can ruin their good time by sitting and chatting because they just don't give a damn about anybody else, and that was you and your friend. Right?
I guess so.
You're damn right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
There's a passive-aggressive piece of you, sir. I'm not exactly sure what the diagnosis would be, but while she needs some anger management classes, you probably need a couple of good hours on a shrink's couch.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Michael Haas claims his eyes were burned when Linda Terhune dumped soda on his head in a movie theater. Linda says Michael wouldn't stop talking during the film.
Mr. Haas, I am totally unsympathetic with you. I just want you to know that. You were rude, and she had had it up to here. So, Now, prove to me, other than your wounded ego and your damp shirt, what injuries you sustained.
Shortly after leaving the theater, I had to take my contact lenses out that they were bothering me. I tried to call my eye doctor because my eyes were burning. It was over the Veterans Day holiday, so I wasn't able to see my eye doctor, until the following Tuesday. And then when I did go to the eye doctor, I was diagnosed with a chemical burn in my eyes.
Show me.
In here.
Are these two different office visits?
Yes.
I'm just looking for the date on here.
11/12 was the first date.
So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 6 days later, you went to the doctor for the first time. Is that right?
It was Veterans Day weekend and all the doctors were unavailable.
No, that's not true. Doctors are available. They're available in an emergency room if you have a chemical burn in your eye. So what were your out-of-pocket expenses, sir?
About $1,295.
Show me. I see one bill for $40 and one bill for, well, this I don't understand, sir. February 19th, 2003, you went to the doctor for $305.
That was as a result of not being able to wear my contact lenses anymore. I had to get eyeglasses.
That doesn't say that here at all. It doesn't say that here at all. Yeah. Don't buy it, sir. So you can take this back. Now, let's get up to $1,200 and some odd dollars. Where is that from?
In addition to needing to go to the eye doctor, evidently when the contents of her cup were dumped on my head and I jumped up from my chair, I sprung my back and went to the chiropractor.
See the groans? Let me see the chiropractor. While you're looking for that, Mr. Haas, did you sprain your back before or after you've chased her out into the parking lot and grabbed her backpack?
Well, there was no chase to the parking lot. This was a mall theater. She tried to escape when I was trying to call the police.
Please, was the injury before or after you grabbed her backpack?
It was before.
Okay. Now let me see the report from the chiropractor. Sir, these are just bills. You have a report from the chiropractor?
They're paid bills.
I'm asking you if you have a report from the chiropractor.
No.
No. Then you know that this is nonsense. So far, the only bill I have is $40 for your eye exam on or about the 12th of November. What else?
In addition to the chiropractor.
Chiropractor I'm not considering,
In
sir. I don't know
addition to
whether
the
you
eye
sprained your...
doctor.
Listen to me. I don't know whether you sprained your back hopping into your car. I don't know whether you sprained your back or neck at all. I have no idea. When you come to court, you have to have a doctor's report. A doctor's report will tell you exactly what you were treated for, what you complained of, what your symptoms were. Paid bills is not it. What else?
There was more to the eyes than just a $40 bill. How much is your eyesight worth to you?
How much is my eyesight worth? I don't know. How is your eyesight between the time that she poured the soda on your head and today? What has been the progression of your eye disease?
Well, I used to wear contact lenses all of the time, and after the incident where the contents of the cup were dumped on my eyes, I have never been able to wear contacts again. That's why I had to buy eyeglasses.
As I said, I'm not excusing the defendant's behavior. I think that she acted inappropriately in a juvenile manner, and I am unsympathetic. I'm also unsympathetic, sir, with your request for $3,000 in medical expenses and pain and suffering because somebody just got really annoyed enough at you and your rudeness to act out her worst fantasy, which was to get up and pour her drink over your head and say, you annoyed me and the rest of the people in this theater, and now I'm going to annoy you and make your life a little bit miserable, because all I wanted to do this morning was come and see a very good movie, and you destroyed that moment for me, you and your chatty friend, and I'm going to get even with you. And everybody here has had a moment like that. You had no right to do that. She also had no right to throw soda on him. By the way, did you ever at any time apologize to her for using profanity and calling her a name?
No, I would expect that she would apologize to me and be responsible for taking some anger management course.
What's the name of... Gee, there used to be a woman who dealt in etiquette. I'm trying to think. Miss Manners. She owes you an apology. She does. You owe her an apology.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Michael Haas claims his eyes were burned when Linda Terhune dumped soda on his head in a movie theater. Linda says Michael wouldn't stop talking during the film.
Now, he had out-of-pocket expense of $40. I'm giving him 10 times those damages, $400. Now, there's a passive-aggressive piece of you, sir. I'm not exactly sure what the diagnosis would be, but it's certainly passive-aggressive. Because if you can go into a public theater and somebody says to you, could you please be quiet? And instead of just saying, well, I didn't realize I was disturbing somebody, turn around and curse them, and then continue to annoy them, there is some passive aggressiveness about you. And while she needs some anger management classes, you probably need a couple of good hours on a shrink's couch. That's it, $400 for the plaintiff.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Well, I think it speaks volumes to the lack of gentility that we now have in our country.
Tim McDonald says he incurred attorney fees as a result of false charges filed by Camille Raciniak and Michael Wahab. The couple claims Tim was driving like a maniac.
Mr. McDonald, it is your claim that the defendants filed false charges against you. I believe that the charges emanated from an instance of what we've come to call road rage that happened about a year ago.
That's correct.
The defendant said that you were acting erratically, that what they were trying to do was to secure your license plate number so that they could forward it to the police when this incident occurred. You didn't know each other prior to this incident, is that correct?
No. That's correct.
And you had a trial, Mr. McDonald?
Yes, I did.
And you were acquitted.
I was acquitted on all 3 charges in 37 minutes.
When was the incident?
October 24th, 2004 at 2 o'clock.
And what kind of car were you driving, sir?
I was driving a BMW Z3 convertible with the top down.
Do me a favor. Just let me ask the questions and try to give me just the answers that I need. Where were you going, Mr. McDonald?
I had seen an open house sign on a street called Edwards, and I was following an open house sign into a track that I had never been in.
Tell me what happened, Mr. McDonald.
Well, as I was going through the track, I realized that there was a car in front of me. It was driving in an erratic fashion. What I mean by that, it would slow down to about 5 miles an hour, speed up 6.
So listen to me. Don't interrupt him. You're going to have an opportunity to testify. Don't interrupt him. Sorry, ma'am. Go ahead.
All of a sudden, I see her kind of go to the right. And I took that as her politely moving off to the right to let me go by.
How many lanes of traffic were there?
This street is a little unusual, and I have a picture over here that I took. If I may move over here to show you. Back here is where I'm seeing all the information going.
I just want to know how large the street was, Mr. McDonald. So that's the street that it was on, so there can be a parked car on either side and 1 lane of traffic.
Easily.
4 car lanes.
Correct.
Keep going.
The minute I went by her car, she lays into the horn, honk all the way around till I get in front. And I look in my rearview mirror, and simultaneously, I see both fingers go out the window on each side. So that kind of set the mood that was going on. And what I did is I gave a wave like this, my error. But I actually thought that was a polite movement on her in the very beginning. Oh. So as I go by, and I'm looking in my rearview mirror, I see this go on, they make a left turn, I think, okay, that's the end of it. Instead, they flipped the U-turn and now coming at me. They caught me at the stop sign, and his window's down. She pulls a car right up next to me to the left of my side, and there's nothing but screaming going on. So I looked at Miss Rosnick, and I said, "You're driving like an idiot." And then I turned right, they turned left. I thought that was the end of it. Nope. So I'm going down the street here, and as I go down the street, the road, as it shows, veers off to the left. As soon as I got around that corner, they're right back on my butt again. Now the problem is, I have them, having gone off to the left, time's taken, and I think they've got a weapon with them. They're staying between a half a car length and a car length behind my car.
How fast were you going, Mr. McDonald, at this point?
Probably about 25, 30 at the most.
Did you ever accelerate beyond 25 to 30 miles? When?
When we came down the long street after they'd been tailgating me, I spotted people at the very end of the block. It's like the movie Duel, where I've got these people just bearing down on me. I don't know what they have in their possession.
What kind of car were they driving?
A white Malibu, I think is what it was. Okay. Like a mid-sized car. So they're behind me. I see people down at the end of the road. I accelerate and pull immediately in front of their house.
Uncross your hands.
At the exact moment that I'm pulling over, and I get out of my car to yell to somebody to call the police, Miss Resnick takes her car and pulls in front in a wedge fashion.
Okay, so she parks and blocks you.
Correct. And all this whole thing that's going on is predicated on one idea that you said. They wanted to get my license plate. And I can show 15 different times that they could have. The truth meant, sure.
Life has a rhythm to it. There are certain things that are common sense, and there are certain things that are not. You don't have to fill in the blanks for me.
Okay.
If I need for you to fill in the blanks, Mr. McDonald, I'll ask you.
Okay.
Keep going.
So as soon as I get out of the car, she pulls the car over, he jumps out of the car and immediately starts coming toward me. Now at this point, I take a step toward him, and I say, in the best voice I can, "Get back in your car!
Okay.
Get back in your car!" And it worked. He turned around right there, but Miss Resnick didn't leave it there. She puts her car in reverse. Your Honor, I have the transcripts of the court proceeding. I have it on audio, and I would appreciate to be able to at least play a couple tracks to give you a flavor of what happened.
She put the car in reverse.
Correct.
Go ahead.
And as she put the car in reverse, Mr. Wahab goes back to...
Mr. Wahab. Mr. Wahab,
Sorry.
you have problem controlling
No,
yourself,
I
sir?
don't, Your Honor.
You have problem controlling your temper, sir?
No, I don't, Your Honor.
Well, it sounds to me as if you do, sir. You don't want to create that kind of impression, do you?
No, I don't.
You see, you've already done it. You only have one chance to make a first impression, Mr. Wahab.
Yes, Your Honor.
You've made a bad one so far.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Mr. Wahab gets out of the car. I tell him to go back. He gets back in the
You
car.
told me that already.
As Miss Resnick's backing the car up, he jumps in the car, shuts the door, and you think it would end there. No. She keeps the car coming right back at me. I move out of the way, and just like she did at the stop sign, she stops his car door right here, the window's down, and I said, "Get out of here!" Now, let me back up a minute.
When you said get out of here,
Sure.
you made a slapping or punching motion.
Correct.
You hit the car.
Correct.
Did you hit it with your fist, with your hand? Did you kick
Open
it?
right hand.
Okay. Did you kick the car at all?
Absolutely not.
Okay. And then what happened?
So I hit it 3 times, "Get out of here, get out of here, get out of here." And as I'm saying that, I see Mr. Wahab either rearing back, like he's going to go back and kick me through the window, which I can't believe could be true,
Fine.
or...
Well, you don't know. Don't speculate.
Okay, well, I see something coming at me. And as I lean back to deflect it, she has the car in drive, and they take off.
Okay.
But they don't. She flips the car around and U-turns. Stops again.
Gosh.
Just on the other side of the road. He pops back out again. I say, "Get back in that car." He gets back in the car instantly. She takes off again. But that's not it. She goes forward again. She stops again. He pops out of the car, but this time, there's a guy that was standing on the other side. A lot of people were evidently watching this thing. He goes over to Mr. Wahab, puts his hand on his shoulder and said, "It's not worth it, it's not worth it." Now, here's what I know.
Don't tell me what you know.
This is what I was
Do you have-
thinking.
I don't care what you were thinking.
Okay? I left.
You left. Fine. Do you have a copy of the police report
Yes, I do.
that Ms. Rusniak and Mr. Wahab filed?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it, please. Now, you were subsequently arrested, is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
What were you charged with, sir?
I was charged with 242 battery of Mr. Wahab, disturbing the peace, challenging to fight against Mr. Wahab, and then vandalism, property, crime against Ms. Resnick.
Who's going to speak for you? Both of you to start? Go ahead.
First, I would like to say that this man put my life in jeopardy. He really
No, you
did.
put your life in jeopardy. You put your life in jeopardy. I'm going to tell you why you put your life in jeopardy. Because according to what I read in the police report, your statement, you felt as if this man was driving too fast in a residential street. So you decided to try to get his license plate.
That's not all it was.
That's the reason, because there had been no altercation up until that time.
Actually, there was.
Oh, you explain that to me.
Well, as you see the street here, I live on not this street that's cut off, but the one in front of the Suburban right there.
So?
That's my street. I was turning left onto that street.
So?
He almost caused me to have an accident. He went around me on the left-hand side as I was making my
He was
left-hand
driving, I said, he was driving erratically, and you said he put your life at risk. You put your life at risk.
I admit, I should have never followed him, and I will never do it again.
That's right.
I learned my lesson on that
That's
one.
right.
But he did physically assault me,
Listen to me
and my boyfriend.
Listen to me very carefully. You got hot and you did a very dumb thing. You followed him, and you followed him, and you chased him several times.
I never.
Yes, you did. You followed him in order to, according to you, get his license plate number. But these are your statements, not mine. You told the police that she was so offended by this vehicle's unsafe driving that they made a U-turn and then made a U-turn back to attempt to get his license plate number of the vehicle to report it to the police. They said they pulled up alongside the vehicle at a stop sign. Well, what'd you do that for? If you wanted to get his license plate number, get his license plate number and call the police, but that's not what you did. And asked him why he was driving so recklessly. So let me figure this out. You were very offended by the way he was driving. You made 2 U-turns in order to catch up with him. That's what you told the police, unless you say the police are lying. And you didn't get his license plate, but you pulled up to him and, according to you, said to him in a calm way, "Why are you driving so recklessly?" Do you know how ridiculous that sounds?
No.
Do you know how ridiculous? I'm not saying he's right. I'm saying to you that somewhere between what you're going to tell me and what he told me is the truth. That's probably why the jury acquitted him. Now, who are you? You are 2 people. He's 1 person in a car. He doesn't know who you are. He doesn't know whether you have good intentions, bad intentions. He has no clue. All he knows is, according to you, you have turned around and followed him on at least 3 occasions. And at that point, you are 2 nuts following him, and he doesn't know what you have in mind. So now what you're complaining about is that he dented your car. I would have hit your car. I would have taken a brick and thrown it through the windshield if 2 people were following me over a dissing incident.
That's not what it was about in the least.
Well, that's what it was about, madam. If you didn't get the license plate number calmly and call the police, you had a cell phone.
No, I
No,
didn't.
we did not have a cell phone.
Oh, and you had no pen?
No.
No,
Oh, we
I did have a pin, but we were unable to get his license plate number.
he was driving
and
too
my
fast.
first intention was not to get his
He
license
had
plate number.
pulled over and stopped.
Your Honor, I can prove that they have a cell phone. I can prove it without a doubt.
How can you prove that?
I wasn't on the cell phone up until the point where I tried to call the police, sir.
Oh, madam, are you telling me that you just lied to me when you said you
I
didn't?
just-
I'm speaking. Are you telling me that you just lied to me when you said I didn't have a cell phone?
We don't have a cell phone on us.
Where was the cell phone?
At my
At
house.
the house.
Just a second. You say you can show me that she had a cell phone in the car?
What they forgot was that they had called 911 from the cell phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Prove it.
Let me see.
No, I did call.
Mr. Wahab, let me explain to you twice now what you did, sir. You showed me that you cannot control your temper.
I
2
can
times.
control my temper, Your Honor.
2 times in a courtroom. So if you can't control yourself in a courtroom, what are you doing out in the street when somebody drives by and flips off your girlfriend? Ooh. You have something that's going to show me that they had a cell phone?
Correct.
Show me.
I also have audio tape of the transcripts.
Okay, what kind of car was it? It was a convertible red BMW 2-door, and it was a male driver? Yes, he has some issues. Okay, what's the cell phone number you're calling from? 714. Okay.
2 things I'll show, Your Honor, if I may.
But just 1 second. Mr.
Sure.
McDonald, that doesn't demonstrate to me that they had a phone in the car.
No,
That-
I'm sorry, but I actually have her statement in court saying that she called on the way back
Oh,
to
let
the
me
house.
see. I'd like to see that.
And I also have the certified copy of the
Your Honor?
transcripts complete.
He said that we pulled over to a red curb on the street. There's no red curb on that street,
Mr.
though.
Wahab, we're not talking about red
All right,
curb,
I'm sorry.
sir. The first thing
I don't
I'm
even know why I'm here today.
Just a second. Well, look at me, and I'm going to tell you. You're here today because he's suing you.
Yeah, obviously.
He's suing you, and one of the things that surprised me about Ms. Rusniak's call to the police is her statement to the police, which I believe said something, and I'm paraphrasing, the guy's got some serious issues. Well, I want to tell you something. If somebody had just assaulted my passenger, as you claim, I wouldn't have said this guy in a BMW had some serious issues. I would have said this guy driving erratically has just assaulted my passenger. He kicked and punched my car. Something is clearly wrong with him. Not in a almost lackadaisical way. I'm speaking. Almost, we can hear it again. Almost lackadaisical way. You're reporting that this guy's got some issues.
The operator never let us finish our statement.
Let me tell you something. I heard this very, very clearly. Nobody cut you off.
No.
Nobody cut you off.
He didn't play the whole tape.
You know when I said to you before, life has a rhythm, and if it doesn't make sense, it's not true. Somebody comes into my middle of the night, takes a knife and puts it to my throat, and assaults me. While they're leaving, they steal a teacup. When I call 911, I don't say somebody just came into my house and stole a teacup. I say someone came into my house, put a knife to my throat, and assaulted me. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes,
I heard him in the background.
He was freaking out, and I was trying to be the calm one.
I heard him in the background. All right, let me see where you say she had the cell phone in the car.
Page 31, line 8
Okay.
in the transcript. I have the excerpts, and then I have, and that's a certified transcript.
Now, Mr. McDonald, you think I'm finished with you? I haven't started with you yet.
Okay.
Because I can tell what happened here. Anybody who's lived as long as I have knows exactly what happened.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I'm not sure you weren't behaving a little erratically, and I'm not sure you didn't lose your temper and didn't use a lot of foul language.
I don't use foul language at all, Your Honor. Not at all.
Not according to the witnesses, sir. According to the witnesses, they say that you were using a little foul language.
That's where
That may be.
That's where it fell apart in court. They never showed up.
Well, they may not have showed up for whatever reason, but that's what the witnesses said initially when they spoke to the police, whether they didn't want to get involved, whether they were neighbors, who knows. Page what?
Page 31, I believe it was line 8.
It's what you said, my dear. I'm going to read it to you. You backed up to help your boyfriend get into the car quicker, right? Yes. And then you leave. Yes. Okay, and you don't see the BMW anymore, correct? Not after I drove off. Okay, do you remember when you called 911? Yes, it was right as I was driving away.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that?
No, because...
Well, that's what it says. Now, I would assume that the trial of this case, you remember things more clearly than you do today because it was closer in time to the event. Aside from the fact it doesn't make sense. Everybody keeps their cell phone in a car. So the fact that you say to me I didn't have my cell phone in the car was a crock. How much did this whole escapade cost you, Mr. McDonald?
He was able to do it for $3,500 as long as I supplied him with all the information.
But in court, you said that you got acquitted in 37 minutes. We were there.
No, it doesn't matter.
It
also, you said that you never touched my car.
Third time, you couldn't control yourself. Not the first, not the second. Third time, you couldn't control yourself. So you can't control yourself, and she doesn't know how to tell the truth. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's all.
And, Your Honor, you're aware
out.
that I have judgments against each of it individually, correct?
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's it.
Brooke Beeson claims former roommate Kimberly May broke their lease when she moved out of their apartment.
How old are you?
21.
Who is this?
My mother.
Thank you. Miss Beeson, you and the defendant leased an apartment together. Were you both in college at the time?
She dropped out of college. I was still attending, yes.
And according to your complaint, she moved out.
Yes.
On the lease. She moved out on the lease, and in addition to moving out on the lease, she, according to you, defamed you by telling certain things to your landlord about what was going on in the apartment. You want to be compensated for both.
Absolutely.
Half of the rent and the defamatory remarks that she allegedly made to the landlord.
Yes.
When did you sign the lease?
May 2006.
And you had known each other for a long time, according to what I read in the complaint. So this wasn't new. And it was just the two of you in the apartment?
Yes.
When did you move out?
June 29th, 2006.
Okay. Now you're going to tell me why you moved out.
Due to bad circumstances.
No, well, that's...
Drug use, and she clearly disrespected me after asking her plenty of times, her friends in and out of my stuff, my bathroom. I had to put a lock on my door because I didn't feel comfortable leaving my own house, and that's why I left.
Let me try to sort it out a little bit. You felt uncomfortable because her friends were coming to the house, and you felt uncomfortable with them.
Yes.
Why?
Because they were up all hours of the night, using drugs.
Did you ever see anybody using drugs?
Yes.
Who?
Brooke and her friends.
What kind of drugs?
Marijuana, and that's all I saw.
Did you ever smoke marijuana?
Yes.
So they were up, they were partying, they were smoking marijuana.
That I know of.
That you know of, a substance that you also indulged in.
Not at the apartment.
Wherever. It's somebody's apartment. You didn't do it in the street, right?
Right.
But you didn't do it at school, right?
Right.
So you had to do it in somebody's apartment, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you had to put a lock on the door.
Yes.
Your bedroom door.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me when you put a lock on the bedroom door.
In May.
Tell me why.
Because I didn't feel my belongings were safe. She had people in and out of our apartment.
Miss May, did you have any rules that you set up to this apartment with Miss Beeson?
No.
Well, then you have a problem, madam. Your problem is you have to be a big girl.
I know that now.
And if you sign a lease on an apartment, you can't just pick up your marbles and go home. So far, you haven't given me one valid reason why you would be entitled to break a lease. You're alleging that you saw her and her friend smoking marijuana. Whether you did in the apartment or not, I don't know, but you certainly did it in somebody else's apartment, so you weren't frightened of drug use because you did it yourself.
Not at the time. Before I have.
Whatever. I didn't say at the time, before or after. So you weren't certainly frightened of what you saw there because it was something you had indulged in yourself. I mean, I can understand you not being happy if there's lots of partying going on. Did she complain to you about that? It's not an answer. Did she complain to you about people being in the apartment? Or...
Yes.
So what did you say to her?
They're mutual friends of ours, so at certain times, the same friends that would be there with me would be there when I would come home. Late at night, they would be over with her.
Well, why didn't you try to work it out? Sit down and work out a scenario where at 1 o'clock in the morning everybody goes home, whether it's your friends or her friends. Why didn't you try to work it out?
Because it wasn't an ongoing thing. It wasn't day to day. It wasn't day in, day out. So it was never a continual issue.
Well, but she made it an issue. When did she tell you she was moving out?
Never told me. Moved
That's a
out.
lie.
Vacated the premises without any warning. Said she needed to talk to me the morning before. I came home from work. I said, you know what, I have school all day. I'll be home at 2 o'clock. I have to be at work at 5. If you want to talk when I get home from school, that's totally fine. If you want to meet me, I'll be here from 2 to 5 before I go to work. Came home, didn't say a word to me. I went to work, came home, and all of her things were gone.
What efforts did you make to find another roommate to take over your lease?
I told her 3 weeks prior to my moving out.
What efforts
I didn't
did you
make any.
Well, you have to. You can't just walk out on a lease. Now, what proof do you have that she made statements to the landlord about you?
I have a document that she had given to the apartment complex, if you want to look at this.
That she signed?
That she has signed, yes,
I'd
absolutely.
like to see it. Who prepared this letter for you?
Me and my mom wrote it.
Well, you can't just say, I accept no responsibility for rent or expenses relating to the apartment after June 29th, 2006. You have a contract with them, and you have a contract with her. And you made absolutely no effort to find another roommate. You have to be a big girl. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
Well, why did you help her write this letter? Stand up when you talk.
Because she needed to write it at the time.
What do you mean she needed to write it at the time? I don't understand you. Did you know your daughter smoked marijuana?
She had before.
She had before?
Yes,
She
I did
probably
know.
had during, and I guarantee you she does afterwards, maybe not in the apartment, but it's not something that frightens her because she does it herself. And that's the only drug use that she ever says she saw in the apartment. So why would she sort of ascribe any untoward behavior to the plaintiff? It's outrageous. She's a baby, and she shouldn't be coddled by you. Should have told her not to rent the apartment in the first place. You have a roommate now?
No, I do not.
Did you have a roommate?
Yes, I did for 1 month.
So you did have a roommate?
Yes.
When did the roommate move in?
In October. It was a temporary thing. He was moving in and moving out, and I needed the rent, so I told him he could move in for the 1 month that he was transferring places from where he was at to going back to his parents' house. It was an agreement we had from the start. He was the only person I could find, and I needed the money at the time, so any money's better than no money at this point.
Did you put any ads in the paper?
I have not, but I had a roommate lined up that bailed on me last minute, so it's just a bunch of...
Who's paying?
Mother does. I'm a full-time student.
When is the lease up?
May of 2007.
Well, you better see if you can find another roommate.
Absolutely, I'm in the
What's
process.
the rent?
$1,400. It's actually $1,391.
Okay, so it's $700 each. Is that
Yes.
right?
Non including utilities.
She moved out in May. Did you pay May's rent?
Yes.
Did you pay June's rent?
Yes.
You didn't pay July?
No.
Didn't pay August?
No.
Didn't pay September?
No, but she wrote me a letter saying that she was having a roommate move in September 1st, 2006, and I responded to her
Let me see.
letter.
Give her both of them.
Okay. Well, you wrote this letter to her, telling her exactly what she owed and that your daughter, fortunately, had found a roommate that will be moving in September 1st. You wrote the letter.
However, can I?
Yes.
Okay. Brooke had a girl from work lined up that had given us a $200 deposit, which we, on the itemization, showed that she had given us. The girl ended up not moving in. So we deducted $200, the deposit she had given, and we did get a deposit from her to secure us, but it didn't remove Kim from the lease. Anyways, she did not get another roommate until Chad moved in for 1 month. She has contacted everybody. She let the apartment know that she would move out if they could find somebody. A tenant had come to me regarding something, and I had tried to work something out where she could even take over the apartment so Brooke could move back home.
I got you. You have 3 months' rent so far. We have October that this fellow moved in, and you have November and December. That's 5 months' rent. It's $3,500. So far, that's what you owe her. And although I'm not happy with the letter that you sent, the letter does not indicate that the plaintiff is the one that was using drugs in the apartment. It says that there was drug use in the apartment. It doesn't describe that conduct particularly to her. Could have been other people, it could have been guests, etc. So I'm not awarding you any money for defamation. Right now, the entire lawsuit has not come to fruition yet. It's not become fixed yet because I am hoping that she will find a roommate.
So am I. I'm paying the rent.
Right, I got it. You can't do that. And your daughter can't do that. She's got a responsibility. Why should this mother be responsible for the rent? Let your daughter move in, she'll move out. You want to do that? Stand up. Move over. The apartment's lease goes until next May. Right now, Miss Beeson's mother has been footing the bills for your daughter's share of the rent. She's perfectly prepared for her daughter to come home and live at home. You want to assume the responsibility from January until May for your daughter? She'll move out and your daughter can move in. That way she can be safe. She can have only her own friends. How about it?
No, I would not.
Why?
Why?
Why is my question. Why is it okay for this lady to pay all the rent when your daughter defaulted and not for you to pay all the rent when your daughter defaulted?
Well, first of all, that lady doesn't have to pay anything. I don't have to pay anything.
Sure
They're
you do.
two adults.
No, just a second. You made an excuse for your daughter and you helped her craft a letter to get out of a lease. Your daughter had no right to move out.
May I say something? What if I find her a roommate?
No question. That's not my question. My question is, you can't stick her with the rent. What, instead of her having to pay you any money since she's already out that money, you move in. You find a roommate. You don't have to find her a roommate. Find yourself a roommate that you're happy with. How about it?
No.
Yeah,
May I say something?
Right. She's a big baby. And don't encourage her. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,500. That's all.
Dawn Chunt is suing her son, 21-year-old Scott King, for a loan to purchase a 1999 Chevy Cavalier. Scott claims the car was a gift.
Ms. Chunt, this young man is your son.
Yes, ma'am.
And your complaint alleges that he owes you a balance of a car loan.
Correct.
And your son says the car was a gift to him?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Did I ask you a question?
No, I'm sorry.
And while he helped you financially for a while, had nothing to do with this being a loan, it was always a gift, and when he had his expenses got to a point where he could no longer help you out, he just stopped. Is that...
That's
now
correct.
I'm looking at you.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Do you want me to yell at him?
Please.
Who is this person?
This is my son's ex-girlfriend, Jessica.
And who is this?
This is my current girlfriend, Kelly.
Is she here for any particular reason?
More or less. She was witness to an instance over the summer where I actually offered a reconciliation to my mother at a festival downtown. And basically my mother told me that she was in the process of filing bankruptcy and that my help was too late and basically shrugged me off and walked away. So at that point, I felt like I was no longer obligated to even try to reconcile or help out the situation at all.
Let me understand this. I'm going to put what you just said to me because I know that one thing you're going to learn as you get older, you have to think about what you say before you say it.
Absolutely.
What you just said to me was, this young lady is a witness to something that happened recently. When you said to your mother, listen, let me try to work this out with you, you know, with the car, and she shrugged you off and said to you, I filed bankruptcy and your help is too late.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Well, that's, Mr. King sort of acknowledges that this was a loan.
Well,
Don't well me.
I'm sorry.
That sort of acknowledges that you had some responsibility in your mother's financial situation. You gotta keep it simple. All right, when was the car purchased, Miss Shawn?
August of 2002.
How old are you?
21.
How old were you when the car was purchased?
I believe 19, Your Honor.
How much were the car payments each month, Mr. King?
$150 maybe, Your Honor. I'm not sure.
Well, you were making the car payments for a while.
Yes, correct. It was a long time ago.
Okay. You were making the car payments for a while. So when you say it was $150 a month, was it 150 or 152, 156?
Couldn't tell you, Your Honor. Don't have my checkbooks from back then anymore.
How many years did you make the payments?
I'd probably say 12 months.
When you stopped making the payments, did you notify your mother?
Absolutely.
Is that right?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I found out 3 months after the fact that he stopped making the payments that from the finance company contacted me and said the payments had ceased.
You have the
payment
letter?
was $177.26.
You have the letter from the
No, they
finance-
didn't. They just called me and I made a payment over the phone. He made $3,000 worth of the $6,000 loan.
Well, that's a pretty good track record, Mr. King, for somebody who got a gift. See what I mean?
Yes, Your Honor.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Dawn Chount says her son, Scott King, owes for the balance on a car. Dawn claims Scott traded the car in and kept the money.
Now, did you file a bankruptcy last summer?
Absolutely not. I've never filed bankruptcy. I have no intention of ever filing bankruptcy.
What kind of work do you do, Ms. Shawn?
I'm an administrative assistant for a management firm.
Who's driving the car?
He's traded that car in on a new vehicle. Yes, ma'am. I have. He got $4,000 on a trade-in, and instead of paying off the loan, he decided to use that $4,000 to purchase his brand new Focus that he's now driving. And they gave him $4,000 for the car, and he used it as a down payment.
Yeah. I mean, you're just going to stand there and look foolish?
No, Your Honor. I mean, what do you want me to say about that? Yes, I traded the vehicle in.
Well, if you traded the vehicle in, who did you expect to make the payments after you traded the vehicle in?
When I was living rent-free, I had no issues helping out with the bills. I was working full-time, going to school full-time.
Helping out with the bills is a different story, Mr. King. Helping out with the bills means, Mom, he has $200 or $300 for rent, or he has $100 a week for rent. That's a different helping out with the bills. You made the car payment directly.
It was sporadically. It was, you know, a chunk here, a chunk there.
Well, that's because you were young and stupid. That's not because that's
Fair
the way
enough.
people do business.
I know that now, Your Honor.
How much is left owing on the car?
Approximately $3,000.
Let me see.
I'm sorry, $2,000 is my balance right now. Here's my current statement from the finance company showing the balance as of today.
And I'm amazed that you traded this car in, that they let you trade
Well,
the
there
car
was no
in with a
lien
lien.
because it was a personal loan.
May I say something, Your Honor?
It was a personal loan? What do you mean it was a personal loan?
It was a signature loan. There was no collateral.
What do you want to say?
Well, this wasn't financing that I requested. It wasn't I mean, I was at the age where I could require credit myself. This is a loan that she got, and she acted sporadically like, let's do this now, let's get this now, you need this. I wasn't prepared to make this transaction, and it was basically thrown upon me out of need, out of necessity, from her standpoint, that we needed a better ride for me and Jessica to go to college and back and whatnot. And it happened within a day. We got the check in the mail, and the next day I had a car. It was like that quick. And I mean, I don't agree that I didn't ask for the loan, I didn't want the loan. I don't even consider it a loan. It wasn't something that I was part of at all. It was something that was thrown upon me, and now I felt like I was being held accountable, like it being dangled over my head from that point forward. After we got rid of my escort, I had no vehicle. So we had the Cavalier, and I was like, make the payment or you lose it. And I was like, this isn't something I ever wanted or wanted to acquire. If I had it my way, I would have still had my old vehicle, and everything would have been okay from that point forward. I don't feel like this was any kind of my decision, and it was forced upon me.
Was he a difficult pregnancy?
Actually, ma'am.
No, I'm asking you a question. Was he a difficult?
No, he was all of my children were very easy.
Easy.
And he was a very cooperative. I was working, got it from the dealer. He was going on a test drive. Mom, I really want this car. I tried talking him out of purchasing this car.
Listen to me.
That's not true.
No 19-year-old or 18-year-old says...
18.
18. Says, Mom, I don't want this nice car. I want to drive the piece of junk that I'm driving. I'm really happy driving around with my girlfriend in this piece of junk that doesn't start all the time.
Absolutely.
Please, I don't even want to think about a nice car. Being 18, I want to take the bus, take the train. With my,
no, ma'am.
That's how we want to go out.
You wouldn't take a bus to school, to high school.
Listen.
No.
I just want to know whether you had any clue in utero that he was
No.
going to develop into this.
No, the last thing I want to do is be here against my
If
son,
I did,
let me tell you.
Excuse me?
The last place I want to be is here with my son.
I don't blame you.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't blame you.
I just can't afford to make payments on something that is non-existent.
Well, I think that he's got some nerve trading it in. That really
And Your
suggests to
Honor-
me, I'm speaking.
I'm sorry.
That really suggests to me that he is really totally an amoral person. He could have traded it in for something and given you the money.
That would have been really nice.
That would have been, and not put you in a hole. Because according to Freshmouth over here, he at least thought that you were filing for bankruptcy. He at least thought that you were in financial difficulty. And one of the reasons that you were in financial difficulty was because of his actions. Because according to him, new girlfriend over here, whose purpose in being here is to tell me about this conversation that she heard about looking forward to helping his mother, right? Isn't that what he said you were going to tell me?
Right.
Right. Means that he understood that his conduct created a negative situation for you.
And I do admit that.
Oh, get over it.
Ma'am, can I give Scott the title to his Focus? Because it's at my house.
No, I don't want you to give him anything.
This is his title for his car that he's driving now.
Listen to me. I don't want you to give him anything.
Okay.
He's got to understand what aggravation is. And if he doesn't have a title to the car that he's driving now because it came to your house, let him go to motor vehicles, fill out all the paperwork that he has a lost title, that the title never arrived, that he moved. He'll fill out an affidavit that he never got the title because he no longer lives in your house. Let him do something. Do you understand?
I understand.
He has to experience some pain. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000.
Thank you, ma'am.
That's all.
Christina Smith claims ex-boyfriend Gerald Ware Jr. owes for his share of a cruise vacation, utility bills, and a loan to retain an attorney.
Ms. Smith, you and the defendant dated for a period of time and signed a 6-month lease together in August of 2006?
That is correct.
How long had you been dating before you decided to move in with him?
I met him in March, so I was dating under 6 months.
I ask that not because it's particularly relevant, but I'm conducting my own sociological study. I want to see how quickly it is that people make this
mistake.
Right.
Yes.
In any event, your lawsuit says that you moved in August.
Yes, August 5th.
And you moved out in?
September 25th.
Right, so the living together at least saved you a bad marriage.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Good. It is your claim that Mr. Ware is responsible for half of a cruise that you booked with his consent and his agreement to pay for half of the trip. It was a non-refundable amount of money. It was $2,000, $1,000 for you, $1,000 for him, which, of course, he didn't go on.
Correct.
Because the cruise was scheduled for?
October 13th. October 7th, excuse me.
Did you take anyone else with you?
No.
So you had the cabin all by yourself?
I sure did.
So let's deal with that first. You moved in August. Things started to go downhill right away. I don't have to know the why. It was not good. You were both not unhappy with the separation. Is that right?
Yes.
You moved out, but you continued to pay the rent. Your half of the rent.
I did.
Does she still continue to pay her half of the rent?
Up until December.
I think she's a princess. And you continued to live there?
Yes, I did.
All by yourself?
And my kids, when I had them for visitation, yes, I did.
Well, isn't that nice?
Yeah.
So you had a great place to live. Are you still living there?
Until January 6th.
And then what happens?
I received a 30-day notice.
Why?
Because she didn't pay her, as it states in this letter, she didn't pay for December's rent.
Why didn't you pay?
I paid my half.
Why didn't you pay the whole thing?
Because I have a written agreement from her that says that she would pay the half as long as I
I'm
didn't
telling
have
you,
a room.
if she's paid September, October, and November, and she hasn't lived there, and you've lived there with your kids, so how old are you?
Me, 37.
Why don't you take care of your own responsibilities? Where are you going after January? They gave you a 30-day notice. Where do you intend to go?
Oh, I'll find a place. No, none in mind right now.
What do you mean you have none in mind?
Well, I'm looking.
How much rent do you pay?
$675.
Is that the entire rent?
No.
Or just your half?
That my half.
Okay. When you moved in to that apartment, where had you been living just prior to that?
With my boss, as well as Christina.
With your boss?
Yes.
What kind of work do you do?
I am a cabinet installer.
And you lived in your boss's house?
Yes, I did. As well as he's a friend as well.
Before you lived with your boss, where did you live?
I lived with my friend, me and a friend named Brian.
And when you lived with Brian, how much rent did you pay?
About $300 a month because it was just for a room.
How many children do you have?
2.
How much child support do you pay?
The child support is, my son is not legally mine. I accepted that responsibility when he was born, and after she went after his real father for child support, so they dismissed that court order, and for Bella it's $246, I think it is.
How much child support do you pay?
$246.
He doesn't pay child support.
When was the last time you paid child support, Mr. Ware?
It's been a couple years because my ex-wife put a letter in. She said that when she required me to pay child support, that I didn't see the kids regularly, so she wrote a letter to the district attorneys in Sacramento County.
That's hearsay. I just asked you a simple question. When was the last time you paid child support? You said several years ago.
Yeah.
You just told me that you used your apartment, sir, this apartment that you were living in and having half the rent paid by the plaintiff for both yourself and your children when you had them. So clearly you were seeing your children within the last 3 or 4 months.
Yes.
But you haven't been paying child support.
No.
Is this your boss?
Yes, it is.
How did I know that? Are you paid on the books or off the books?
On the books. I'm 1099.
And how much was your 1099 last year?
I didn't work for him last year.
Yes, he did.
Mr. Ware, he doesn't even want to stand up anymore and get involved with this, sir. Did you file tax returns last year?
No, I did not.
You just told me you lived with your boss last year before you moved in with her.
Last year.
What's your last name, sir?
McWee, ma'am.
You want to leave now?
No, ma'am.
You might want to rethink that. You get me? Good. So you're paid in cash and you don't pay taxes and you don't pay child support. You're supposed to pay your own rent.
I did. My house.
Well, you didn't pay, no, your own rent. Listen to me, Mr. 37 years old. You live in this country. You work for him. You're supposed to pay taxes like everybody else, which you don't do. You have children, 2, or maybe just 1. They come to visit you, and yet you have no fiscal responsibility for them. The rest of her lawsuit is, she says, A, she made a small loan to you for a lawyer. I'm not so interested in that, $199. But she said that you had no credit. Well, the reason you have no credit is because you allegedly have no income. So that she put all the utilities in her name. She put all the utilities in her name, left them in her name because she had no credit, and you didn't pay the bill, even when she was paying her half of the rent. Sir?
I was giving her half my check. She went over to my boss's house and received money from them.
You mean after she moved out?
After she moved out?
I'm talking about after she moved out.
After she moved out, I told her she threatened to turn everything off. I told her to go ahead and turn everything off.
Oh, she should have.
So?
And she didn't.
And she didn't.
And did you turn the lights on?
I
Listen
couldn't.
to me. Did you turn the lights on?
Yes, I did.
Did you turn the stove on?
Yes,
did you
I did.
plug in a coffee maker?
Yes, I did.
So you used the juice. When you use the juice, you have to pay for it. Did you use the telephone?
Yes, I did.
If you use the telephone, you have to pay. If you're an American citizen and you use the roads and you use the other services that the government provides, you have to pay taxes. How much were your electric bills and service bills after you moved out? I'm talking about just for him.
Yes, the dish bill came to $292.23. I actually put a passcode on there around October 20th when I found out there was adult movies rented on there.
He had to do something to keep himself occupied. Next.
Sure West bill was $260.14.
Is that it?
Yes, and if you're not going to do the attorney bill.
No. $552, rounding it out, Bert. Thank you. Is that right?
Yes.
No sense. Good. $552. Now, let's talk about the cruise, Mr. Ware. You told her to go ahead and book the cruise?
A cruise was planned before I met her. We had been talking about it amongst friends before she moved in, and her sister is a friend of my boss.
Did you tell her to go ahead and book the cruise?
No, I did not.
That's not what you said here, sir.
My boss's wife booked
That's not what you said here, sir, in your answer. Just because you broke up doesn't mean that you don't pay for half the cruise. You pay for half the cruise. What?
In order to get the cruise, you have to do double occupancy.
Don't speak to me sitting down.
Sorry, ma'am. We told them both prior to this going that if anything happened, that you have to pay double occupancy to get on this cruise in order to get all the cabins together. So I said, if something happens, you can't change it, you can't get the money back, and they were both aware of that.
You made that clear to both of them?
Correct.
Terrific. Thank you. You can sit down.
I gave Gerald every opportunity to go on that cruise.
Listen, it happens. He's got to pay for half the cruise because you're out the money. Do you understand?
No, I don't, but...
Well, it's very, very easy, sir. There's no way that you wanted to go on this cruise, and there's no way that you were going to share a cabin together. Somebody was going to go on the cruise. Now, it is my sense that if you said to her, I will give you the $2,000, I will go on the cruise instead of you, she would have said, great.
No.
She would have said to you, great. You go on the cruise, and I won't. But right now, she had $2,000 invested in this cruise, and she hadn't seen a penny from you.
Yes, she had, ma'am.
Oh, really? You paid for some?
I was giving her all my checks that I was receiving from him.
Checks
to
you
pay
get cash.
for,
Listen to me.
well, cash, to pay for credit card bills that were outstanding
We're
when we
not
met.
talking credit card bills, sir.
That's
We're talking
how
about the cruise.
That's how the cruise was paid, on credit card.
How much money were you giving her?
I was receiving $500 a week.
In what?
In cash.
I love it when a game plan comes together. Just think of it this way, sir. It's your contribution to taxes. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,552.
Judge,
That's all.
I have some jewelry I want to give back to his daughter.
Perfect. That's all. Thank you.
Housekeeper Nita Bayer is suing former employer Kendra Hall for damages resulting from an injury she sustained in Kendra's home. Kendra is countersuing for the return of Nita's unearned wages.
Miss Bayer, according to what I read in your complaint, you did some housework for Miss Hall. You fell in her house. You want her to be responsible for your medical bills and your lost wages. Ms. Hall says she's not certain that you fell in her house and injured yourself there. She's counterclaiming because she says that she paid you for an entire month and you only worked that one day. She wants you to refund to her the amount that she paid you for the remainder of the month when you didn't work. I have a few questions. Ms. Bayer, how long did you work for Ms. Hall?
7 months.
How often did you go to her home?
Every Friday starting of March 2006.
How many hours did you spend there?
Usually I spent somewhere between 7 and 8 hours a day.
What was the date of this accident in the house?
It was November 3rd, 2006.
And she had paid you for the month?
Yes, she did.
What was your monthly salary?
It was $360. I received $90 a week.
Now tell me about this fall that you took in the house. Miss Hall was not at home.
That's right.
Go ahead.
I arrived to work and I started working in the kitchen. Then I went upstairs, stripped the beds, made the beds, and then I took all the laundry down to the laundry room, and the light bulb was burned out in the laundry room. So I went into the garage to look for a ladder, and I found a 3-foot ladder. I took down the fixture, which was full of bugs and dirty. I washed it, cleaned it, went upstairs, got light bulbs that are kept upstairs in the linen closet. When I came down, I went up the 3-step ladder, went to put the bulb in and lost my balance and fell against the wash and dryer on my left side. When I got up, I felt nauseous and dizzy, so I went outside and sat in a little brick fence that's in the backyard, trying to gain my composure. And then I finally went into the house. I took some Aleve, some Excedrin.
Stop 1 second. So it would be clear and fair to say that you did not fall because the ladder broke?
No.
Because there was any imperfection in the floor? You fell because you lost your balance?
That's right.
Nobody else's fault but yours?
That's right.
Okay. Go ahead.
So since she pays me monthly, $360, she had just left that check that morning, and I never thought anything was really seriously wrong with me, and I tried to continue to work. In fact, I did continue. I finished cleaning the house, even did the laundry, very slow. Usually I leave about 3 or 4 in the afternoon. She arrived about 5 o'clock, and she asked me, "Are you still here?" And I said, "Yes, I did something foolish today. I fell and I hurt my arm. I don't know what's the matter. It really, really hurts." She quickly ran to the phone, called her sister-in-law, who I also work for, and she said, "Nita fell changing a light bulb. Do you think my home insurance will cover her if I take her to the doctor?" She said, "Okay, thank you," hung up, ran to her office, came back with some papers and said, "Yes, my home insurance does cover it, but I have to pay a $1,000 deductible, of which I will not pay." And suddenly she wasn't concerned about me anymore. And she says, "This is ridiculous." And I said, "Well, then you're not going to help me?" And she says...
So you had asked her?
Yes.
Just a second. You didn't make that clear, Miss Bayer.
I'm sorry.
So you said to her, I finished working, but I hurt my shoulder. I want to go to the doctor. Will you pay for it?
I didn't say, will you pay for it? I asked her, can you help me? That's what I said.
Well, what did you want her to do to help you?
To take to the doctor. I figured, well, since I fell in her home, that...
So you felt she was responsible?
That's right.
Well, that's what I'm saying to you, Miss Bayer, but you left that out of your story. What you made it sound like was you told her that your shoulder was hurting. Without saying another word, she went over to the phone and called her sister-in-law.
Yes.
But that's not what happened. You said, I want to go to the doctor. Can you help me? Because you're responsible because I fell in your house. So she went to find out if that was true.
And she came back and found out that it was true.
What makes you think that if you have an accident in somebody else's home and it's your fault that they should be responsible?
Because I was under her employment at the time.
Well, that may be, but, you know, there is something that lacks common sense about that. I'm a common sense gal myself. What you told me was you fell and it was your fault.
Yes.
And you want somebody else to pay for it. That's what it comes down to. I mean, if you're taking it at face value, you may have fallen in her house. You know, I'm not necessarily saying that Ms. Hall should not have assumed this responsibility. But what I'm saying to you is it doesn't flow naturally. If you fall in somebody's house and there's nothing wrong with their house, the railing isn't loose and the steps aren't uneven and there's not a slippery floor and there's no ice in the front walk, well, that shouldn't be their fault. It's your fault. You fell. That makes sense to me. The fact that most jurisdictions have superimposed some liability on the part of homeowners if they have people working in their home, that irrespective of whose fault it is, they have to take the responsibility, that's something else. But I'm just telling you, from a common sense perspective, it doesn't make sense. It makes no more sense than if you were walking down the street in front of somebody's house and there was no ice, no snow, there was nothing wrong. You were thinking about something, you fell in front of their house, and you say, well, I fell in front of their house, I'm going to sue them. You fell because you weren't being careful.
I was being very careful.
Well, if you
Your
were being
Honor.
very careful, the ladder didn't move by itself. And if you were being very careful, that maybe you had a pre-existing medical condition that caused you to become dizzy. Whatever it wasn't her fault. It was an accident.
Yes, it was.
It was an accident. An accident that was your fault. Not her ladder's fault, not her floor's fault, not her light bulb's fault, not her light fixture's fault. It was your fault. Now, I say this to you because what you want is more than just your medical bills paid. You want medical bills and lost earnings and lost wages. Why should she pay for that?
It is still an ongoing problem, Your Honor. I have proof here.
It's your ongoing problem.
That's true.
Not her ongoing problem, it's your ongoing problem. And what you're saying is that she should have taken care of the medical bills because she didn't want to pay the deductible. Listen, she fell in your house. You know what the parameters are, right?
Yes.
That's what the law superimposes on you. I happen to think it's ridiculous. It doesn't make sense to me. But that's what the law says.
I understand that. Can I please tell you
Sure.
the side of the story that I believe to be the truth? Very similar.
But let me tell you something. Don't go to where you don't think that she was injured because she's got things that she's prepared to show me that she hurt her rotator cuff when she fell.
She was injured. Where? I'm not sure, because when I came home from work that day, I put my things down, got my kids in the house as I always do, and she continued to work. And I didn't run to the phone and run to anywhere. She insisted, I'm hurting. Do you have insurance? I'm like, what? I was in shock.
No,
and
don't
I
be in
didn't.
shock. She fell off the ladder, changing a light bulb in your house.
This is what she's telling me, okay? I don't know this. I really don't. Because
Well, you weren't home.
she kept working.
She
and
told me
she's
that.
working, and she's a hard worker. She
told me that.
is. But what I don't like is that I did not say I would not pay. She told me later on the phone, you should have just paid the $1,000. I called my insurance company to see. I said, well, I don't know if there's a deductible. I'll find out. You know, we'll take care of this. Oh, don't worry about it. I'll go to county where my husband goes. Her husband's very ill. He goes to county hospital for treatment. This is what she told me. That's why I dropped it. Later, her daughter calls me. My mother, she's going to need surgery, possibly. I'm like, what has this got to do with me?
Okay, well, that's what it has to do with you. Where are the medical bills that you paid? Okay. Your total medical bills so far are $1,047. I don't know what this is.
I totaled everything up, lost wages, the doctor bill.
I'm not giving you any credit for lost wages, madam.
Okay.
I believe that you should pay your medical expenses. But you were paid already for the full month when you didn't work. Is that right?
On that paper in the blue I highlighted, I deducted the $270
Well,
that
I know,
owed
but you
her.
deducted it from $3,000.
Right.
I'm deducting it from the $1,047. $777. Now, it's $777 that your insurance company's not going to pay because you have a $1,000 deductible. It's your option to have a $1,000 deductible, right? You could pay more insurance and have less deductible. You choose to be a self-insurer for the first $1,000. Are you following me? You look at me like I'm talking another language.
No.
Right, but you got it, right?
I got it.
You got it. You owe her $777. Sounds to me it's fair and reasonable. I don't think you're responsible for the fact that she's not working. And you haven't worked since November?
No, I haven't.
Well, who knows when you're going to be able to go back to work?
Well, that's why I was asking for the lost wages to cover the existing bills that
She's
it had.
not responsible for your negligence.
Okay.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $777. That's all. Thank you.
Christine Lawson is suing her ex-boyfriend, Joseph Lemos, for the cost of a big screen TV they purchased as a couple. Joseph says when they broke up, Christine kept the TV.
Miss Lawson, this gentleman used to be your boyfriend. You lived together for a period of time. Something happened while you were living together with your TV. You claimed that he wanted to buy a big screen TV. You put it on a credit card. You allowed him to use the credit card. He used it not only for the TV, but for some other things. He paid for the other things that he used. Ultimately, he paid off the credit card up to the amount of the TV after you broke up, and then he stopped paying for the TV. You want him to pay for the television. Sounds very reasonable, right?
Yes.
Except that you have the TV.
Correct.
So, I'm confused. Mr. Lema says that he did, in fact, use the credit card to purchase some other things. Even after you broke up, he continued to make payments on the credit card until he had paid off all of the items he had purchased, but for the television.
Correct.
And the reason he didn't pay for the television is because you have the television. When did you break up?
It's about April or May of 2006.
And when was the television purchased?
August of 2004.
So you've been watching the television?
Correct.
In your house?
Yes.
Why don't you pay for it?
I never wanted it. I don't like it. I would love to give it back to him, but I don't have, I'm using it as collateral, I guess, to get the rest of the money that he owes me.
The only money that's owed is owed for the television.
Not entirely.
Most of it is for the television.
I guess you could say that.
So what you want me to believe, Miss Lawson, is that he said to you, you can keep this $3,000 television and watch it, and I'm going to make the payments on it.
No, that's not how the conversation actually
Well, tell me how the conversation actually went.
Okay. When we broke up, there was still about $4,000 on the credit card, which, as you said, there was multiple things on there. He was paying me up until September of 2006.
Correct, and then he
payments.
stopped. Right.
And he wanted to take his TV, which would have been fine to me. However, I couldn't guarantee that I would get the rest of the money that he owed me if I handed over the TV. I had no way of contacting him. I had no cell phone number. The only way I had was email. Most of the emails that I had sent him were ignored.
He paid you for the 6 months.
Well, he was paying on multiple things. That wasn't the only thing on there.
He paid the credit card honorably.
Correct.
Until the only thing left was a television that you were watching.
Well, the television was...
And he wanted it back when you broke up.
Correct.
Well, then you're watching it. You pay for it. I mean, it's not rocket science.
Well, the amount owed on the credit card exceeded what the amount of the television was.
When?
When we broke up, when he stopped paying.
Come on, Miss Lawson. I just made it perfectly clear to you that there's an agreed set of facts, and the agreed set of facts are he paid until September when the only thing that remained on the credit card was the television set, which he had initially asked for when you broke up, which you declined to give him, which you've been watching and you've been using. You pay for it. That's all. Case is dismissed. That's all.
Christine Smith says she loaned her ex-fiancé, Albert Johnson, her car. While Albert was driving, his new fiancée, Sharitha Cornell, smashed into it, but she denies it.
Order. All rise. Quiet, please. Your Honor, it's number 147 on the calendar in the matter of Smith versus Cornell. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Have a seat, sir.
Are you Albert?
Ma'am.
Didn't you know you were coming to court today?
Yes, ma'am.
So what are you wearing shorts for?
I thought it was, I'm saying it was gonna be nice.
All right, Miss Smith.
Yes.
Albert over here, the one in the shorts, is the father of your daughter.
Yes.
And you're engaged to him now.
Right.
According to your complaint, you lent Albert your car.
Yes, I did.
And she hit your car.
Yes, she did.
You weren't in the car.
No.
She was in the car.
In her car.
And you were driving.
Yes, ma'am.
Objection, because she, I want to make a point that I have the statements from the officer that she gave her complaint to. She said that she was in the car, she was driving when this happened.
Okay, but she wasn't.
And she
She was not in the car.
Albert!
Uh-huh.
Stand up here. You want to stand on that side?
Shh.
Order.
Tell me what happened when you borrowed her car.
I bought a car, then I had St. Cornell on Grand. So I had got out the car, I had parked her car in front of her car.
You parked her car in front of her car.
Right. Then I had just put her car in reverse and backed up into her car.
Just a minute.
Why you lying?
Miss Smith, I don't want you to say anything. I'm in charge here. Let me be in charge. I like being in charge. Get up here, Albert. Right up here. Shh. You borrowed her car. You saw her driving in her car. So far, am I right?
Yes.
Was her car parked or moving when you saw it?
Parked.
Was she in it?
No. She was in the store.
So what did you do?
I had one of my friends that told me they had seen her in her car. Then it was another guy driving her car. So I helped her buy the car that...
Don't tell me what your friend told me. You were annoyed.
Right. And I backed up into her car with her car.
So you're telling me her car was parked?
Yes.
Your fiancée?
Yes.
And you pulled in front of the car, pulled into a parking space, and backed into it?
Yes.
That was pretty stupid. Wasn't it?
Yes.
Why would you do such a stupid thing?
Because I was mad because it was another guy driving her car.
Mm-hmm. Are you back together again now?
No, we together.
With her?
Yes.
You with the defendant, Miss Cornell?
Right.
Mm-hmm. So I gather you straightened it all out.
Mm-hmm.
That is a yes or a no?
Yes.
Uh-huh. How many times did you back her car into her car?
About twice.
Did you cause some damage to her car?
Yes.
How much damage?
I don't know how much damage was.
What do you do for a living?
I do the odds and ends.
What kind of odds and ends?
Paint, cut grass.
For cash?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Just you stay right there. What kind of car do you have?
A 92 Chevy Cavalier.
And you?
A 90 Chevy Cavalier.
Did you have your car fixed?
No, ma'am, I didn't.
Now, Miss Smith, do you have any objection to my adding Albert here as a co-defendant in your lawsuit?
No.
You know what that means?
No.
That means that I'm adding you as a co-defendant in this lawsuit, sir. That means that since you have just acknowledged to me that you caused the damage to the car, right?
Yes.
You should pay for it. Why are you looking at me with that blank stare, sir? What words didn't you understand that I said? You understand what I'm talking about? Yeah. Because, Miss Smith, quite frankly, since they're back together again, I'm not going to get the truth out of him.
That's right.
Probably won't get the truth out of her.
Sure won't.
Because she was in the store.
I have a police report that she gave, since you won't get the truth out of me. She gave to the police an hour and something later after the accident. Her lie, since you can't get the truth out of me.
Miss Cornell, you don't understand, madam. Something is not getting through in your head. She wasn't in the car.
She said she was.
But you know she wasn't.
Okay, but she said she was.
What does that have to do with the damage to her car?
It has a lot to do with it. It has a whole lot to do with it. At the time of the accident, they were engaged. This was his fiance at the time of the accident. They had been broken up for 9 years prior
Just
to
do me a favor.
that.
Could you be quiet?
Yes, I can.
Good.
I surely can.
Step down over there next to
I
your
surely
fiance.
can be quiet.
All
I
right.
surely can.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You want to change the story? Huh? It's not an answer. Hey, quiet.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Curtis Dean Smith says she loaned her ex-fiancé Albert Johnson her car. While Albert was driving, his new fiancée, Sharitha Cornell, smashed into it.
Can I see the estimate for the car, please?
Okay, got it all.
The estimate for the car is $1,562. Is that right?
That's without it being painted. That's just to pull the dent out the trunk and the side and fix the bumper.
It ain't even no dent in her trunk.
Have you been in my trunk?
It's not even a dent.
Have you been in my trunk?
Shh. What's all this other stuff here?
That's to fix the car and to paint it.
You have insurance on this car?
Yes, I do.
How much did you get from your insurance for this?
At the present moment, when the car was hit, there wasn't any insurance on the car.
What? Excuse me?
Yes. I had dropped the insurance 2 months before the accident happened.
I see. So the insurance doesn't become effective until the 16th of May, and this accident occurred on May 4th. Is that right?
That's right.
And you had no insurance on the car prior to this?
That's right.
Okay. Albert! You better do a lot more odd jobs, sir, because you owe her for the damage that was done to her car. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Thank you.
Good. Now, Miss Cornell, you have a counterclaim. For what?
Because she lied and told the police that I hit her car while she was driving the car and he was in the car. The officer contacted me and told me what she had said. Told me that I would be arrested for first-degree assault because there was assault on her and she was pressing charges. Of course, I got very angry. I got stressed out. I had to be hospitalized due to that. You know, her lying. You know, and me finding out that I was going to have to go to jail. I also was jailed. I had to pay for someone to keep my children due to her lies.
Just a second. You were jailed when, madam?
I was jailed on the 20th of May.
Let me see the papers to prove that.
And then right after that, 3 days later, she called me looking for Albert because he supposedly ran off with her car again.
What does
and
that have
she
to do
had
with
him
this?
locked up. She had
does
him
that have
locked
to
up
do
for
with
running
this?
off in her car. I'm not
Listen,
talking to you
listen.
because you're
to
not
you.
the
Hey,
judge.
listen.
I can't listen. Judge
I
Judy,
can't listen.
I
I can't listen.
I apologize.
Just a second. Just
Your
a
Honor.
second. You told the police that you were in the car.
Yes, I did.
Why did you do that?
When Albert had called me and told me that Sharitha had hit my car, I told him to call the police. Albert said he had a warrant on him for his arrest, so I told him to bring me my car. We went down to the police station and made a report, and I said I was the driver. I also went back.
So you lied to the police?
Yes, I did.
Well, you were also asked by the police whether or not you wish to press charges against her.
And I said, yes, I did, because she hit my car.
But not only did she hit your car with you in it and then took off. Isn't that what you said?
Yes, that's what I said.
That caused her to be arrested. Do you know that?
Yes. But I also went back to the police station, tried to change the report, and I couldn't locate the officer, so I talked to his supervisor, and he said just tell the judge that.
Well, by the time you got to tell the judge, she had already been arrested. How long did you spend in jail?
A day, Your Honor, a whole night.
That was the wrong thing to do. You understand that?
Yes.
You're suing her for $1,250, is that right?
That is.
All right, not a difficult case. Albert, you are going to pay her, the plaintiff, $2,604, because that's what you said you caused in damage to her car. She doesn't have to pay for that if you're covering up for her, and if she actually hit the car and you're covering for her, then it's going to cost you $2,600. You understand me? You want to change the story? Huh?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I know you feel like crying.
State hospital, that's where she belongs.
Yeah,
you see
you
what
know
I'm saying?
what? That's where you belong.
And later today,
Are you thick or what? There is a difference between your brother giving you a gift and a 17-year-old who you know has a crush on you.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Albert Johnson borrowed his ex-fiancée, Curtis Dean Smith's car. She says that while he was driving, his current fiancée, Sharitha Cornell, ran into it.
You want to change the story?
No.
No. Okay. On the other hand, madam, it's going to cost you $1,250 because that's what she's suing for. You filed a false report. You two folks together?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Well, then this makes it easy. You're only going to get $1,444 for your car. Do you understand that?
Why is that?
That's because I am deducting the $1,250.
Cool with me.
Cool with you?
Cool with me.
Perfect. That's all. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,444. I have deducted what you owe her for filing this false claim because this
Thank you, Your
couple,
Honor.
this lovely couple is now together. I'm
That's
treating them
right.
as a couple.
And I'm going to send you an invitation to our wedding.
Party's ice cream. Step out, please.
Make sure I put that in my date book.
She don't need that money to fix her car. She need that money to buy her a man.
And now the next case.
Party's on Gibbs versus Edwards. Step forward, please.
17-year-old supermarket clerk Noelle Gibbs and her father Stanley Gibbs are suing 21-year-old Alex Edwards for the shoes she bought him. Alex says Noelle had a crush on him and the shoes were a gift.
Mr. Gibbs, why don't you tell me, sir, why you are suing this gentleman for $140.70?
Yes, Your Honor. My daughter is under the age of 18. She's 17 years old.
That's you.
Is Noelle. And so I originally filed a suit ad litem as a guardian, being that she's underage. So the reason...
What is this for, sir?
The suit is for a pair of shoes that was purchased by my daughter from Sport Chalet in Valencia store for Mr. Edwards as a loan.
Why did you purchase a pair of shoes for him, Noelle?
He was hinting around that he needed a pair of shoes.
Where do you know him from?
He works at the store right next to where I work. I work at Thrifty's, he works at Vons.
Are you friends?
Well, yeah,
No.
we were friends. Yes, we were.
Order.
He hinted around that he didn't have the money for the shoes and that he had them on hold at Sport Chalet. And I said, well, I could loan you the money, you know, and you could pay me back. And he said, first he said no, then the next day he goes, okay, and yes, he would. I can go get the shoes for him.
Is that what happened, sir?
No.
Well, let me hear what happened.
She's been harassing me she's had this high school crush for about 9 months. I made up every excuse in the world not to go out with her. She buys me some shoes. Right after she hands me the shoes, my witness is right here. She says, will you go out with me? I said, no. I said, I only have $4. Then she goes, I'll pay. I don't like her. I've never been her friend. I don't go by and see her. She comes by and sees me. I don't bother her.
Are those the shoes?
Yeah. Here.
Just a
no,
second.
they're not. Those are not the shoes.
Those are not the
No,
shoes?
they're not.
Hand them back.
Just a second. She bought your shoes.
These are the ones I got in the box.
Are they your size?
Yes.
How did she know your size?
I think she asked me, actually. Yeah.
Well, tell me the circumstances surrounding her asking you about your shoe size.
She's always asked me if I'd go out with her. She finally got her truck back from her dad. So I said no, because I'm saving up for some shoes. She said, what if I buy you the shoes? Can we go out? I said, well, I'll think about it. So I did get the shoes. And I thought about it, and I said no.
Just a minute. You still didn't tell me how she got your shoe size.
I didn't think she would get the shoes, so I said, yeah, I wear size 11 if you want to go get them. The ones I want are Sports Chalet.
Okay.
She comes to my job with the shoes.
Okay.
I really didn't think she would get it. I thought it was just like a joke. I didn't think she would really do it.
Okay.
And then,
Did you agree to pay her back for the shoes?
No.
He didn't agree to pay you back for the shoes.
Yes, he did.
Well, there's no question. He got the shoes. The only question is, were they a gift or were they a loan?
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
Do you, sir, make it clear to me that you have no interest romantically in this young lady? Is that right?
I'm not her friend. I'm not nothing.
Just
I never
listen.
liked her nothing.
Hey.
Okay,
Right?
yes.
By accepting a gift from her, assuming it was a gift, you are encouraging her. Do you understand that? Oh, yeah. What does that mean?
You know, that's
Do you
a conversation.
Hey! Do you understand that, Mr. Edwards?
Yes, okay.
And that's unfair. By accepting a gift, you did the wrong thing. Right?
I don't think so, not really. I mean,
then I'm going to
if my
have to...
brother gave me a gift, then, I mean, do I owe him also?
Excuse me? Who gave you a gift?
If my brother gives me a gift, I mean, I can't stop her from doing, I mean, I can stop
are you
that.
thick or what? Are you thick or what? There is a difference between your brother giving you a gift and
I
a
never let her-
17-year-old...
I've told her many
Hey, you're
times.
talking over me, and I have a bad throat
Okay,
today.
go ahead. Sorry.
There's a difference between your brother giving you a gift and a 17-year-old who you know has a crush on you. You encouraged her, even by your own statement when you said to me, she told you, well, if I buy you the shoes, will you go out with me? That's what you told me,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And instead of you saying, absolutely not, you said, we'll see, maybe. Isn't that what you just told me, sir?
Yes, yes.
So you encouraged her. A, that's cruel. B, by taking a gift, you made it not only cruel, but there's a certain insensitivity there and greediness that I don't like. So you are going to pay her $140.70. You have the receipt for the
I do.
shoes? Is that what the bill was?
Yes. It's,
140.70. Got it? Good. Thank you. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
She was
I
trying
did
to
not
buy me.
ask
She
him
should
to
have
go
went
out
and got
with
a
me.
prostitute.
No,
If
I
she
did
wanted
not.
all that, she could have got
Excuse
herself
me?
a prostitute. If I buy you the shoes, will you go out with me?
I did
That's
not
what you said.
say
That's
that.
What, they put this kind of effort into a Stairmaster,
did
they would be
not.
fine.
Printer Rolanda Davis says she loaned her car to neighbor Rhonda Davis and it came back damaged. Rhonda claims in her countersuit she owes her money for a missing gold ring.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 240 on the calendar in the matter of Davis versus Davis. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated.
I'm going to try to make this rather complicated case as simple as I can. You are not related to each other, even though you have the same last name.
No.
You are neighbors.
Yes.
She borrowed your car,
Yes, she did.
and it was involved in some sort of a traffic accident, and it was damaged.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
And you want her to pay for the damage to the car.
Yes, I do.
She says that while you were babysitting for her, jewelry was stolen from her house. So she's countersuing you for the jewelry. She said, therefore, she doesn't have to pay for the car. Is that this case?
Yes, it is.
So at least we have one thing that's a given. You damaged her car.
Yes.
Now, in what month, date and month, did you damage her car? And you don't know this right off the top?
July 12th, Your Honor.
No, I don't.
July 12th is when you borrowed the car.
Yes.
How was it damaged? Tell me.
I was damaged on the on the driver's door.
And how did you do that?
I didn't do it. A car hit her car while I was parked.
So she says, Your Honor.
Whatever. You weren't there.
Right.
But it was damaged while it was in your control.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's not covered by insurance.
No, it's not.
Why did you let her borrow your car?
Because she asked me if she can borrow my car to go to the grocery store.
That's not true.
And I said, do you have a driver's license? And she said yes. And I let her drive my car. When she left, my car was a brand new car.
No, I understand that. She's acknowledging that the car was damaged while it was under her control. Did you have a driver's license?
No, I did not.
Why? Why did you use her car without having a driver's license?
She sent her daughter to come get me, to go to Lucky's, to go get some milk and cereal for her daughter because she was sick.
Your Honor.
I did her a favor.
Your Honor. She asked me to use my car. The first question I asked her, before I even answered her, was, do you have a driver's license?
That's not true.
She said yes.
Shh. Just a second. Did you have insurance?
No, I didn't.
Why not?
Well, I had got the car in May, and I moved in June. I guess my insurance papers, from what the car dealership told me, went to my old address. Being that I didn't get them in time, they pinned it because I only had it a month after I got my car.
Well, so far you both sound very responsible. No insurance, no driver's license. It's a perfect match.
Okay.
All right. Now, when allegedly was this jewelry stolen and how? What month?
It was stolen August 23rd.
All right. 8/23. Now, between July 12th, when the car was damaged, and August 23rd, why didn't you pay her for the damage?
Because, for one thing, when after the accident had happened, okay, I came straight to Rolanda, and I said, Rolanda, someone had hit your car. We came out, we looked at the car. She said, Rhonda, don't worry about it. It's not that much damage. It could have happened to me if I'd have had your car. She said, don't worry about it.
Okay.
Come on now.
Shh, shh.
All right.
And so?
And so that was it, okay? August 23rd was my birthday. We needed a babysitter.
Just a minute. So are you telling me that between July 12th, when our car was damaged, and August 23rd, there was no other discussion about paying for the car?
None. None.
Okay. You say there was?
Yes, there was.
When was there?
When she came back, when she pulled back into the parking lot, and I came outside and seen my car, and I'm just shaking my head, and she was like, Rolanda, I'm going to help you fix your car. She said she's been knowing people who can fix my car, Your Honor. She said she's been knowing people, and I'll come to her door, I'll ask her sometime, I'll be like, have you talked to someone?
No,
and she'll be like, yeah, I know somebody who will fix the car.
Okay.
You know, and then she got mad one night and was like, I'm not going to fix your car.
Who are you?
I'm her witness and roommate. We live together. When she was at the store, I was at Rolanda's house sitting, waiting for her because the store is not very far from where we stay at. Okay, when she came back, all three of us walked out where the car is parked at in front of our apartment building, and we looked at the car. You know, I was looking like, where's the dent, you know? And it was very small, like maybe if someone opened their door and maybe hit the car or something like that, that's what it looked like. To me, it wasn't major at all.
I'm going to see pictures of it. I assume the pictures are here.
It wasn't
Yes,
major
I do
at all.
have my pictures to prove that they're not little itty bitty dents.
I have pictures
I have
too.
I have some damages that.
Just a shut.
Okay.
That's certainly not an itty bitty dent.
No, and that wasn't the dent that was in that car. Neither. Her car had been hit 3 times since that accident.
Well, when did you take pictures of it?
Maybe about 2 weeks ago when I knew that she was following this.
Just a second. 2 weeks ago this happened? 3
July
months
the
ago?
12th, Your
Yes,
Honor.
but
My
I
case
didn't know she was going to file no suit against me or anything like this.
When were these pictures taken?
Those pictures were taken 3 days ago.
3 days ago?
3 days ago.
Not interested in these pictures?
Well,
I
have
want to
an
see the estimate.
Okay. I have
right
an estimate,
after
Your
July
Honor.
12th.
I have an estimate, Your Honor, proving how much my driver's door does not open. My window is broken.
That window was in that car.
It has been rain, and my car, the door, it's rain, it's mildew stains inside of my car.
Your husband
Just a
broke
minute.
the window.
Hey! This damage report is 2.5 months after this incident.
Yes. Okay. Your Honor, I'm telling the guys all the truth. She damaged my car.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You copped an attitude, which I have a feeling you can do very easily, and you said, I'm not doing that.
And later today,
Whoever made the decision that this was not going to be a long-term relationship, whether it was you or whether it was him, whoever it was, you're very lucky.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Rolanda Davis says after she loaned her car to her neighbor, 36-year-old Rhonda Davis, she returned it with extensive damage. Rhonda admits the car was wrecked, but says Rolanda stole a gold ring from her home, making them even.
She acknowledges she damaged your car. You do not have an estimate within a day, a two, a week after the accident.
Right.
$1,500 is practically what they charge just to look at a car. One of these car doctors, they come out in a white coat and they look at it. The looking costs $1,500. So we're not talking about a lot of money. The damage that you caused to the car was at least probably $1,500.
Yes.
If they have to pull it out, they have to repaint it, they have to buff it out. You agree with that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So $1,500 she's entitled to for the car. Now, you have to prove to me that she took your jewelry. Prove it.
Only way that I can prove it is that when we got ready to leave, when I got to the club, Jocelyn noticed that my jewelry was gone. What I did, I immediately got on the phone. I called Rolanda. I dialed my number. Rolanda answered my phone. She said, hello. I said, Rolanda, this is Rhonda. First thing I said, how's the kids? She said, everything okay. I said, Rolanda, I left my rings on top of the TV. Can you please go get them for the kids won't mess with them? She said, okay. I said, I'm going to hold on until you do this, I was holding on the phone. Whether Rolanda went in my room to check to see was the rings there or not, I was holding on. She came back to the phone. She said, okay, I got them. I said, okay, everything's okay? She said, yes. I hung up the phone. When I returned home, I say approximately maybe about 2:30, close to 2:45. Immediately as I walked in my door, I seen my table, the glass was broke, Then Rolanda said, the window in the room is broke. I said, the room window. So I goes in the room and I pulls the curtain back. The whole window is busted out, A family heirloom that I had from my grandmother that's passed, that was broke, My rings was missing, all in one night.
Okay. What happened?
She called. And she did tell me that her ring was somewhere in her room. She did say that she would hold while I go in the room. I did not go in that room because I didn't want to be responsible for nothing coming up
Just
missing.
a second.
Okay.
Stop you right there.
All right.
She called. She said, I'll hold on.
I sat the phone
Just
on.
a second.
Okay.
She said, I'll hold on while you go inside and get my rings because I don't want the kids. That's what she said to you.
Right.
And you did what?
And I sat the phone down and sat there. I did not come back and reply to her. I got there.
Yes, you did.
Oh, sure you did.
Yes, you did. That's what the reason
Sure you did.
holding on.
Okay.
No, that's why I was, oh, excuse me.
No.
Excuse
Hey,
me.
oh, sure you did.
She is lying. No, I did not. My
Let
mother
me-
is right
let
here.
Let me tell you why you did. Let me tell you why you did. Because it doesn't make sense. It's not logical for you to have then walked back and said, I don't have the rings. I'm sorry. You put the phone down. You said, gonna wait a couple of minutes. You picked the phone up. You said, got him.
I didn't say got him.
What did you say?
I told her I was not going in her room because I wasn't going to be responsible.
No, you didn't.
That's what I said.
Oh, you did.
I
Please,
didn't
give me a
leave out
break.
that living room.
Give.
Your Honor,
You got
that
my
is
rings.
the truth. I didn't leave out the living room.
Oh, I believe it.
I stayed
How you
right
know the
next door
bedroom
to her.
window was
Listen to
broke?
me. Listen to me.
Okay.
Either way,
Okay.
you're responsible. She's absolutely right. Either way, you're responsible. She called you.
That's what
You
I
were
did.
babysitting for her children. She said, I left my rings. Please go inside and secure them. Instead of doing that, You copped an attitude, which I have a feeling you can do very easily, and you said, I'm not doing that. You took the phone, put it down, waited a minute, picked it up and said, I got him.
That's what she did.
No, I didn't, Your Honor.
Sure you did. Tell me what rings were missing.
This is the rings right here. I have the things from the rings and everything. They're not even finished paying for. Here's everything for the rings. It's the ones that's
a room at all.
That's your problem.
Circle.
Then you lied.
Here's
No,
my
I didn't.
stuff.
Oh, sure you did.
For my table.
Oh, sure you did.
I got
How?
the window fixed, but not the table.
How,
but
Your
this
Honor?
is
How did you lie?
Yeah.
You lied because you told her I got the rings.
No,
Here
I
we go,
didn't.
right
Oh, I
never
believe you
told her
did.
that.
Listen, I may be wrong. I was wrong once in 1950. I don't remember what it was, but I'm sure I was wrong
And
once
this
in
day
1950.
too, Your Honor, because I didn't say
Be
that to her.
quiet.
Judge Judy is ready to rule. And later today,
You are so full of baloney.
Am I?
You are so full of baloney. But you're a very quick thinker.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
This case is going to turn out to be a wash, you know. Because I believe that you should have paid for the car, for the damage to the car. I believe that's true.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe Miss Attitude over here decided that she was tired of asking you to pay for the car and made things sort of even. Your lawsuit is dismissed. Your countersuit is dismissed because they're just for about the same amount of money. The loss of the rings, the damage to her car, it's a wash.
with me.
That's all.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Out the back door to your right, please.
All right.
And now the next case.
Parties on Penda versus Crane. Step forward, please.
55-year-old engineering assistant Dee Pender says she bought a computer for 43-year-old Robert Crane while the two were dating. Robert claims he knows nothing about it.
While you and the defendant were dating, you claimed that you bought a computer for him, he agreed to pay you for the computer, stopped dating, and he hasn't paid you for the computer.
Right.
That's simple?
Right.
He says he doesn't know what you're talking about. You never bought him a computer. He doesn't know about a computer. Is that right?
Correct.
Interesting. So, how long were you dating before you bought him this computer, and tell me why you did in the first place?
Probably about 4 months I was dating him, and he was over that night, and we had talked about that I might get a computer. And I was on the phone, and he came in, and he says, "Oh, you're ordering a computer?" And I said, "Yeah." He says,
that's not right.
"Could,
Sure.
Do you think I could get one too?" And I said, "Well, I'll ask." So I asked, and she said, "You can buy as many as you want."
Well, where were you ordering these from?
Through my company that I work for.
Were you getting a good deal on them?
Yes.
Is that the idea?
Yes, uh-huh.
Go ahead.
They offered them to the employees only. And she said, yes, I could get as many as I wanted. I said, okay. He says, well, put it on your charge for me, and I'll pay you back next month. Fact is, he says, I'll pay the whole bill off. And I went, shh, wait till I'm done. So I finished ordering 2 computers and got off the phone. He says, yeah, he says, I'll pay the whole bill off. Everything on your bill I'll pay off. Yours and mine and anything else that's on there. He said, I make plenty of money. He said, no problem. And I said, no, you pay what you owe me, I pay my own bills.
How much was the computer that you bought for him?
In the end, by the time we got everything on there was $1,943.55. That's what it finally came to.
Okay.
So he comes over and he says, I make $15,000 a month. Here's my check stub, I'll show you. And I looked and I went, whoa. And he says, yeah, I make plenty of money. Don't worry, I'll pay the whole thing. I said, no, just pay your bill. That's all I want. And so the bill came in, and he says, well, the next month, he says, I'm a little short of cash. Can I just make the payment this time? He said, actually, I'll pay it when my tax check comes in. He said, that'll be in the next week. And I said, okay. I said, you know, pay $100 on this. Okay. So
Did he give you $100?
Yes. Yes, he paid me $100.
Well, let me ask you this question. Have the computers been delivered?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They were delivered the next month.
Did you talk to him about his computer?
Oh, yeah. He said, yeah, he liked it. He thought it was great.
What kind was it?
A Micron? Micron, I believe. Here it is right here.
Okay. And which credit card did you put it on?
My Citibank Visa.
Okay.
There's a little note here that he left tagged on my car after he moved out in the middle of the night in his handwriting saying, I will pay you. He put this on my
Let me
car.
have
I
it,
put the
please.
date up there of the
Good.
day he left it on my car.
Let me have it, please. Yes. I'm listening.
Yes, ma'am. As far as this computer, she'd called me and said she'd purchased a computer. And as far as another computer, I know nothing about it. I was very shocked on this lawsuit that she served me. I was very shocked. I was very shocked. And the thing I did, I finally had to move because all she did was call me every night. She wanted to pursue this relationship. Hey, I didn't want to hear anything else about it. So I finally had to move because we lived in the same complex. I did not need to hear any more of this
if you
from
can't
her.
be quiet, you have to leave. Do you understand?
So the only thing I can see is she's very distressed that she couldn't pursue this relationship.
So you think she bought these two computers that are clearly on her bill for somebody else, or maybe she just wanted two computers for herself?
Possibly. As far as that, the only thing I knew, she called me up, she said, oh, I bought a computer. Oh, you did? Okay, fine.
If there would be a copy of a check that you gave her for $100, what would that be for?
It would be for some stamps that I purchased from her for a mail order business that she was going into, that I paid her for.
You are so full of baloney.
Am I?
You are so full of baloney. But you're a very quick thinker.
I'm not full of
You're a very quick thinker. I don't have a check for $100, a copy of a check.
But still,
I just
that wasn't
wanted
for-
to
that
figure out,
wasn't
to
for.
see what your answer would be if you thought I had a copy of a check.
That's what it would have been for.
Oh, God. Must be smoking something real good.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
$1,943.55 is what your Visa bill shows. Does very fancy footwork. Ms. Pender, you're very lucky that whoever made the decision that this was not going to be a long-term relationship, whether it was you or whether it was him, whoever it was, you're very lucky.
Yes.
Earth to Mr. Crane. You
Yes.
can't pull the wool over everybody's eyes all the time, sir.
I'm sorry.
What
I'm
were
pulling wool.
what were the interest charges since this purchase was made? His interest charges, we're going to give him credit for the $100, even though he now says it's for stamps.
And also lost wages because same time he moved, his company moved. And it took me 2 days to find out where they were.
That you're going to, listen, you're going to chalk
had a
that up to
business card all the
experience.
time.
Okay.
All I want to know is the interest. It's $320.
She had a business card all along.
2163, right?
Got there.
That's what I got there. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,163.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I'm the daughter, and I know the whole story. And I'll tell you, when you're born to lie and you do it well, you can get through life, and he is proof of that.
No. Yeah, they're just ganging up on me. That's why I'm by myself. So, hey.
32-year-old Jacqueline Levitt is suing the father of her child, Jean Carlos Felix, because she loaned him money to buy computer equipment and was never repaid.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please. All rise. Your Honor, this is case number 300 on the calendar in the matter of Levitt versus Felix. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Have a seat, ma'am.
Ms. Levitt, your papers indicate that you were in a 5-year relationship with the defendant. That relationship produced a child, a son.
Yes.
And that during that 5-year relationship, you made loans to him well in excess of $5,000.
Yes.
Relationship terminated.
Yes.
You want your money.
Yes.
And you say?
That's not how it happened.
Tell me about it.
Well, we were in a relationship for about, I'd say, a year, almost a year. And he had a computer portrait business, and he wanted to enhance his computer equipment. So he came to me and asked me for a loan. And so I said, well, okay, it's understood that it's a loan. And he said, yeah, any money that I ask of you, I want, it's going to be a loan. I'm going to pay it back. And I said, okay. So I made a record of it. I made a record of everything, you know, because it's a business loan. And so
take it out. Show me. First, show him.
No, I've seen it.
You've seen it? Okay.
This is all the checks and everything.
Go ahead.
And so during the course of our relationship, he paid me back some money, you know. And so he got a job like this year in July, and he's telling me that he gets paid like $4,000 a month. But yeah, he's not going to pay me back my money because, you know, I was stupid, I was gullible, I believed everything that he said to me. He used me. He took advantage of my kindness, and we were together for 5 years.
And you say?
We met maybe back in 91 or 92, you know. She came in to get insurance for me. And she's been calling me ever since. And then a week later, I decided to go out with her. And after a couple of months, it just didn't work out. Okay, I said, look, it's not going to work out. You know, you just fresh off a relationship, you're insecure, you low self-esteem and everything, you know. Just, I don't want to go out with you, okay? And she started crying, okay? She's like, she grabbed my legs. And she's like, please don't leave me. I don't want to be alone. I don't want this, I don't want that, okay? I said, I'll stay with you, but nothing's going to come out of it, okay? It was just strictly sexual. You know, we'll go out. She even called me her booty call. She called me when she wants to have sex.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Hey, that's how it was. You know, I mean, I'd go out, do my own thing, you know, go out with whoever I wanted, okay, if I don't have anything better to do.
How chivalrous of you.
Well, I mean, that's what I pointed out. It's even on paper. You know, it's just like, take it or leave it, okay? I'm not going to have a relationship with you. Okay?
All of that is, listen, that's a boy-girl thing. If she wants to accept a relationship under those conditions, that's fine.
That's what she
We're
accepted.
talking here about
I'm getting to that. I am getting to that. But in the
loans,
meantime...
Loans, your insurance, all these checks with your signature on the back of endorsements. So, car payment.
I never asked her to pay anything for me, okay?
But just a second. Did you take it?
Yeah, she volunteered. Why not? You know? That's like she thought she had to do that, okay? In order to keep me from leaving her. It's either pay stuff for me or send me dirty pictures, half-naked pictures, just
Put them
everything.
away. I don't want to see them.
You don't want to see? I've got them here. Anybody else?
No, just a second. Anybody else want to see it? Is that what you just said? Did you just say anybody else want to see it?
Well, the whole thing was a joke to me, you know? It's like things were not working out from day one, and she's like...
So why didn't you just say goodbye?
I have.
You're a big guy. You want to say goodbye to somebody, you could just say goodbye.
I went to Miami. I went to Orlando. She would track me down. I have letters she sent me to everywhere I go.
Well, so you understood Mr. Felix, right? That according to you, Miss Levitt was infatuated with you.
Yes.
And you felt that she was, according to you, insecure. Is that right, sir?
She still is.
A dependent personality.
Yes.
Is that a fair statement? Vulnerable because of that.
Maybe
Right?
you could see that. Sure.
And so you decided to go over and, according to you, for want of a better phrase that unfortunately doesn't come to my mind right now, service her occasionally.
Hey, whatever, that's what...
Just a second, Mr. Felix. Am I right?
Yes.
Service her occasionally and pick up a check.
Nah, it wasn't always like that.
Let's go back a second, Mr. Felix. You did service her.
Yes.
And you did pick up a check.
That's not service for a check. It
No,
wasn't
no.
like that.
I'm just saying, you did service her, and you did pick up a check or two, or 10.
Sure.
Or 20. Now, Mr. Felix, that's not very nice, sir. That doesn't say to me that you are a very nice person. Do you want me to explain it to you?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She got pregnant on purpose. That didn't work, okay? I'm not going to be with her no matter what she does.
And later today,
You made the car payments for her?
She borrowed money from her family that I helped repay.
My family will be very surprised to hear that there were payments made to them.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jacqueline Levitt says the father of her child, John Carlos Felix, borrowed money to buy computer equipment, but never repaid her. He says the money was a gift.
Can I make this suggestion to you, sir? There will come a time when Miss Levitt will become so frustrated with the situation that if you don't take her to court, and I doubt that you will, because I doubt that you have this passion to see your child on a regular basis, but she will feel as if, as she should, that the child has a right to be supported by two parents. And that's what the law says. So she's going to take you to court. And under the law of many jurisdictions, she can take you to court seeking support from the date of the child's birth. Do you understand that? So I'm going to suggest, Mr. Felix, that from now on, when you make child support payments, you make them by check or money order made payable to her, clearly endorsed child support. So should there ever be a question about how much money you have paid, it is memorialized in a writing. I give you that piece of legal advice, sir, and I give it to you for free. Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
And now the next case.
Parties on Sherritt versus Liebenson. Step forward, please.
29-year-old Jill Charette says her ex-boyfriend, Brad Liebenson, agreed to make the payments on a Sea-Doo watercraft. Jill decided to sue after Brad missed several payments.
You were dating. He wanted a watercraft.
Yes.
Something that you ride on the water.
Exactly.
Very California.
Yes, it is.
But he had no credit. So you got the watercraft, she got the bill, and then you broke up, leaving you with the bill and him with the watercraft.
Not quite true.
You don't have the watercraft?
Yes, I do.
You have the bill?
I did.
Did you pay for it?
Up to a certain point, that's correct.
How much?
$1,000.
And how much was the watercraft?
Approximately $4,000.
So that leaves $3,000.
That's correct.
Well, explain to me why you don't owe her the watercraft or the $3,000.
Well, in the statement that I did give, we had come upon an agreement to where after I paid for her to stay with me during the period of our relationship and the money that I spent, that the balance of the watercraft was to be left in me as repayment.
When did you come up with this idea?
During one of our last meetings, before she actually moved out.
You had this conversation with her that you remember vividly as you stand here before me today.
Yes.
How long did you live together?
4 years.
He says that you came up with this agreement with regard to the watercraft, that you lived with him. I assume he's going to tell me that he paid all the bills. Is that right?
That's correct.
And that therefore you had an understanding that he would pay for the first $1,000 of the watercraft. Does any of that sound familiar to you?
There was never any conversation like that at all. The only conversation in regards to the jet ski was that I was going to pay for it and he would make the monthly payments on it until it was paid off or until he could come up with the lump sum to pay it off. There was never any trade for this, trade for that. That was never discussed. That wasn't part of the agreement at all.
Mr. Liebenson, when you were together, tell me what kind of expenses you took care of, sir.
Rent, utilities, car payment, things like that.
For yourself and for the plaintiff.
That's correct.
She had her own car.
Yep.
And you made the car payments for her?
She borrowed money from her family that I helped repay.
Explain that to me.
She didn't have money for a car when she moved out here. She borrowed money from her family. I repaid most of that money.
How much money?
Approximately $3,000.
Can you show me how you repaid that money?
I made payments to them.
How?
By check and by giving money to Jill.
Well, let me see some checks.
I don't have them here. I wasn't able to obtain them. My bank keeps all that on microfilm.
They keep it on microfilm, but you can get copies of that, sir.
They weren't able to get them to me.
Does any of that sound familiar?
No, my family will be very surprised to hear that there were payments made to them for repayment of a car, which I paid every dime of.
Assuming, Mr. Liebenson, that I do not believe you. Let's start with that premise, sir. Your answer, sir, says for the first year and a half that you were together, you paid for rent, bills, car repairs, and food. There isn't anything here about repaying a loan to her parents.
Maybe
Nothing.
I omitted that when writing my statement.
Well, the statement is 2 pages long, sir. That's a really big thing to omit, considering that it's the first thing that you mentioned to me today, and just happens to be in the same approximate amount of the water ski. And you go into great detail in your answer. Jill and I lived together for 4.5 years. During the last 6 to 8 months, I decided to purchase a personal watercraft.
That's correct.
Not the two of you. I decided. Although you say, due to my credit standing at that particular time, I was denied the loan. Jill offered to use her credit to obtain the loan. And then you say, after the separation, I discussed the fact that I had supported her during the first year or so, and we should offset that. So you go into great detail. Nothing about this loan that you paid, that you couldn't get from microfilm from your bank.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
All right, you got the watercraft?
That's right.
You got the bill. How much did you pay?
Altogether, a little over $5,000 with finance charges because it was a revolving line of credit. So there was finance charges that were accrued.
You're only suing for $3,200.
Yeah, basic blue book cost of the watercraft. It's basically the principle of the thing at this point.
Mm-hmm. Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,200.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I was brought to court because somebody couldn't live up to their word.
I didn't have to live up to any word because I was telling the truth. There was no agreement ever made, so it had nothing to do with jealousy. I hope that he's happy and things are going great for him.
Guess wanted to try and teach me a lesson. Maybe she wasn't happy that I had already found somebody else.
I could care less. I wish him and her all the happiness. I just was tired of the lies and the abuse from his new girlfriend, and my, does she have a mouth on her. And I got tired of taking it. I tried to be reasonable and rational, but realized that I wasn't dealing with rational people.
But Tina refuses to share it. Tina claims it was her ticket that won the Jeep, making her the sole winner.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please. Your Honor, this is case number 301 on the calendar in the matter of Peraza versus Barraza. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Have a seat, ma'am. Ma'am.
You two gals are real good friends. You went to some sort of an event, which you're going to tell me about. One of the things that happened at that event was that there was a door prize of a brand new Jeep automobile. Right?
Correct. Yes.
She won, you think that you should get half. Right?
No. Not exactly.
Well,
I think we both won.
You think you both won, and she claimed the prize.
Yeah, she ended up going behind the back and claiming the prize.
All right, let's start from the beginning. What kind of an event was this?
It was just an event from a radio station and Taco Bell. It was just a concert.
Slowly.
It was just a concert. It was just a a concert where these rappers are going to be there or something like that.
You, according to your complaint, got the concert tickets and asked her if she wanted to go.
No, she got the concert tickets.
She got the tickets.
Yeah, and she asked me if I wanted to go.
Okay.
And I agreed, and we went, and at the door, they asked us if we wanted to gamble, and we said yes, and they gave us $500 fake dollars each.
Did you have to pay for that?
No. No, they just asked us at the front, if you wanted to gamble, you got $500. If you didn't, well, you didn't gamble.
So it was like Monopoly money.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Okay.
And after that, she asked me, I mean, I was there with her the whole time, but then she asked me if she could gamble my money, and I said, sure, go ahead, you know, and she's like...
You weren't gambling?
No, I was just standing right there, just helping her out. That was about it. She gambled, she got all my money, she gambled it away, and we ended up getting chips for, just chips, regular chips of what you gamble with, and when you were gambling, so we had to trade those in for tickets. And after that, some guys just came up to us and told us that, oh, they were leaving, they were in a rush, so they came over and they gave us their tickets. They said, here, girls, good luck, and if you guys win, give us a call.
So now you had these whole bunch of tickets, and you threw them in a pot.
We just, yeah.
Who held on to the stubs?
I did.
You did?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was, she had it in my backpack, so she put it in the backpack. We had a backpack, it was only one, so she put them in there.
And you had a whole bunch of them. How many did you have?
There was probably 50 or probably more. I wouldn't know. We didn't count them. And we just threw them inside the backpack, and it was time for them to call out the tickets. The time came, so we went down there, and they started calling out tickets. We won other prizes. Prior to that, we won something else, and it was time to call out.
What else did you win?
We won a jacket and a backpack. And
what'd you do with that?
One of us kept the backpack, and the other one kept the jacket.
Is that right?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So I guess the time came to win the thing, and we just got the tickets, and she's like, here, you take half, because there was so many of them. We just split them up. She said, you take half, I'll take the other half. And
to look at the
through
numbers
them,
as they were calling the numbers.
Yeah, so then after that, they called the number. That was about it. They called
And
it.
you had the ticket. You were holding that ticket.
Yeah, she was holding the ticket.
Okay. Now let me ask you this question. I'll ask you this question. There came a time when you did split up these tickets, right? She held half and you held half. Tell me about that moment.
As I recall, we just split them up.
Not we split them up. They're in your hands.
Okay, I split them up evenly.
Split them up evenly?
Yes, I just gave her half, and, you know, we both looked at them.
Okay. Am I correct that your reason that was done was because it's too difficult to look at all the numbers as they're calling out the numbers, like in a bingo or something, you know,
Yes.
so that each one of you was looking through half,
Correct.
right? And your ticket won.
Yeah, they were my tickets. They were all my tickets.
Now, why do you think they were all your tickets?
Because she had given me her $500. I did not ask her if I can play with her $500. She gave them to me. She gave the $500 to me.
How did that come about?
She said, here, take my money. You can gamble with it.
Is that what you said?
No.
No, that's not what happened.
That's exactly what
happened. No.
No, we were gambling. She ended up, she was like down to her last $50, and she just said, can I, oh, let me have your money. And she said, if we would win the Jeep, we would split it up.
I had said that from the guys' tickets. I had the guys' tickets in one hand, and I had my tickets in the other hand. The ones that I had won.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't. All the tickets were together in your backpack at one point. Oh, I
Yes,
think that they
at
probably
one point-
were.
at
All
one
the
point we put
tickets
them
were
all
together
together.
in your backpack.
At one point, I had put them all together, yes.
So at that point, they were all mixed together.
Yes.
Yours and the guys.
Yes.
Right. So there really is no way of knowing whether it was your ticket that won or the guy's ticket that won.
Exactly.
Well, now at least we got that straight. So it's not in one hand and then the other hand.
But I had told her, out of their tickets that they gave us, actually they gave me the tickets, and I told her out of those tickets, if we win it, we'll split it because we were friends.
You couldn't tell whether it was their ticket that won.
No, we could not.
You just assumed it was comfortable for you to say it wasn't one of their tickets that won, it was my ticket that won.
I did not say that.
You had no way of knowing whether it was your ticket that won or one of the guys' tickets that won. Right?
Exactly.
Am I feeling? Hello?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You speak to this pain in the neck, And a 12-year friendship is down the drain over a Jeep.
And later today,
He had stolen my daughter's clothes before. I also have sex letters where he signed up for sex calls. And I have pictures to prove what kind of person he is.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 19-year-old Myra Barraza is suing her former best friend Tina Barraza after they won a new Jeep in a raffle.
I see that you have a tape there. Can you tell me what that tape is of?
This is just the day of the event. Recorded us where we both claimed the prize. We both did go up there and claim the prize. And
For the
said,
Jeep?
Yes.
I want to see it.
Mm.
Here we go. 607-487.
Who won the Jeep?
Well, that certainly looks as if, at least at that moment, there was a mutuality that each of you won that prize. So what happened?
I was willing to split with her.
So?
And that's what we were going to do until about a month later. She had called me up, and she had said that she wanted to give it to me. She said, go ahead and have it, in other words.
Where was it?
I hadn't got it yet.
Did you do that?
No, I called her up. There was all this stuff was going on with the Jeep. We didn't know what we were going to do. It was a big old thing about it. We didn't know how we were going to split it up, who was going to pay for tax and license and everything. And we were going to get the confirmation letter. And I called her up and I told her, yes, you could stay with the Jeep. But she had said if she stood with the Jeep, she was going to give me an $8,000 loan. That's how much the car was worth, $16,000.
I did not state that.
And I told her, okay. She said she was going to tell her dad, sell her other car that she had just bought, sell it back, and instead of paying $15,000, she'll just tell her dad to get an $8,000 loan and pay me for it. And I said, okay. We agreed. I never thought anything. I just said, okay. We didn't. It was just a verbal thing. But I did tell her, okay, you could keep the Jeep, and
that sounds reasonable because you can't split up the Jeep.
Yeah, and I just said, okay. And I said, you could pay my $8,000, or else we're just going to sell the Jeep, and we're both going to get our half.
She's not. No, she did not say that on the phone. She told me that she wanted me to keep the Jeep. That's what she told me.
What? Of course, that's what she said to you.
Yeah, but she did not specify that she wanted me to give her $8,000.
Well, why would she make you a gift of $8,000? If the Jeep is worth $16,000, why in the world do you think, madam, that she would make you a gift of $8,000, which is half of the Jeep? Why?
I don't understand what you're saying.
Well, let's go slowly. What word didn't you understand? Why do you think that she would make you a present of $8,000?
She did not say anything about $8,000. I did not hear anything about $8,000 on that telephone call. At that time, I was like happy. I was happy that she given it to me. And I figured that
what are you doing standing up here?
I want to step in for the spot where she called her. She told me through everything that happened. She called me every time they had a conversation. She was asking me, what should I do? What should I do? What do I do about the Jeep? Do I split it in half? Should I sell it? What? I told her, you know what? You won the tickets to that concert. It's your Jeep. You were holding the ticket at the time she won it.
Oh, you're the troublemaker. Sit down. Sit down.
As I was saying, I figured the reason why she said that on the telephone is because she knew that she did not have any part in the ticket winning.
Oh, please, madam. I want to tell you something. I think that your conduct was really outrageous to bring it to this point. First of all, the two of you have been friends. There isn't a question in my mind. What?
9 years. 12 years.
There isn't a question in my mind, after looking at that tape, that at the time that that Jeep was won, the two of you, both of you, I saw her signing papers.
We didn't sign any
Just a
paper.
second.
It was just a back of a flyer. We put down both our names and addresses.
Right. It was the back of a flyer. You both put down your names and addresses as the winners. Right?
Yes.
That's what it looked like to me on there.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometime you speak to this pain in the neck who says to you, I don't think you have to split it with her at all because it was your ticket, it was in your hand. And a 12-year friendship is down the drain over a Jeep because there is no logical reason that I can think of except if you're drinking too much to think that this lady would call you up and say, I just want to give it to you because you're a very nice person. I care about you.
No.
Please.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
That's called the Soddy principle, S-O-D-D-I. Some other dude did it.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Myra Peraza and her former best friend, Tina Peraza, won a new Jeep in a raffle. But Myra says Tina is refusing to share.
Listen to me. Bottom line is, the maximum jurisdiction in this court is $5,000.
I know.
You understand that?
Yeah, I know.
Right? Now, she claimed this prize. I assume you went and claimed the prize.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
Correct. She told me to do what's right, and that's what I thought was right. Yeah, she just went off this one day. I'd spoken to her the weekend before she did this. I'd spoken to her the whole week when she went off to the radio station and had a cashier's check with her parents, and she did this on Friday. I spoke to her Friday and Saturday. She told me nothing. I told her, what's going on? She said, nothing. I haven't spoken to them. I haven't heard of anything.
Miss Peraza, your friendship's over.
I know that.
And based upon what I've heard, that's probably the right thing to happen.
Yeah, I know.
Because she's not a very trustworthy person. Now, she claimed the Jeep. She's going to have to pay the taxes on it. But I'm awarding you $5,000, which is the maximum that I can. My grandmother used to say, if you do the right thing happens. If you do the wrong thing, eventually it's going to catch up with you. What you did was pretty sneaky. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Okay, you got your Jeep. She got her money.
Back door to your right, please.
Just to reiterate what Judge Judy said, bad things, it all comes back to people or whatever. It's going to come back to her because I did what I thought was right, and in God I trust that I did what's right, and I think it's going to come back to her what she did because she was wrong, not me. She's lucky for even being there. She's lucky for even being at the event. I don't see that she deserves half. I won the tickets to go to the event, and she was even lucky that I took her.
You got your $5,000
Yeah,
you wanted.
I did.
So
I
now you can shut up.
Yeah, you too. You had nothing to do with this.
And now the next case.
Parties on Anderson versus Rankin. Step forward, please.
Margaret Anderson is suing her tenant, Tim Rankin, claiming he made phone calls to 900 numbers totaling more than $1,000.
All right, Mr. Rankin. You rented a room from the plaintiff.
That's correct.
And I believe that you will agree, based upon what doesn't seem to be in dispute, that when you moved in, you wanted a telephone in your room.
That's correct, Your Honor.
But because of prior problems, you couldn't get the phone in your name.
She offered to put the phone.
Because of prior problems, you couldn't get the phone in your name.
I owed a past due bill on the Pacific bill.
So the answer to my question is yes. You couldn't get the phone in your name.
Correct.
I knew we'd get there, Bird.
Take your time, George.
So she said, okay.
Yes.
Right? Are you nervous?
Yes.
Hmm?
Yes.
I could tell you were nervous. She said, okay, you put the phone in your room, and within a relatively short period of time, you got a bill.
Yep.
And how much was that bill for?
$1,059.
For a 1 month period?
2 months period.
2 months. And you say I didn't do it.
I didn't do it, Your Honor.
Is the phone in your room?
Yes, it is.
You think she did it?
I doubt it.
Look at this lady. Look, I just want you to look at her. You think she went into your room and made the calls?
I doubt it.
Somebody's got to pay the bill.
That's right.
Now, you want to try to explain to me in 100 words or less why it shouldn't be you?
In 100 words or less, I don't know if I can do it in 100 words or less, but I believe that the other tenant that was living there made those phone calls.
So?
And there's a reason behind why I think he made those phone calls.
I'll hear you.
Okay, well, the former tenant and her had a limousine business. She put up $27,000 for a limousine. Somehow I was drawn into the middle of that. Their business relationship didn't work out from the get-go. They were screaming and yelling every night there. And because I didn't take his side in the limousine business, he started to have an attitude against me. Eventually, I had to throw him in jail for assault on me at the lady's house. The following day, her and I went down and put restraining orders on him. At that point, I believe he went in my room. He wanted me out of that house no matter what. No matter what the cost, so he could work on her by himself. I believe that he went into my room and made a bunch of phone calls, information phone calls. I'm not sure what exactly they were. Psychic, maybe, I don't know what kind of phone calls they were.
Psychic hotline calls? Is that what they were?
900. Sex calls.
Sex calls.
Sex calls. Okay.
Okay. So that's your defense. You know, we used to call that, when I was sitting judge in Manhattan, somebody once told me that that's called the Soddy principle, S-O-D-D-I. Some other dude
done it.
Did it. Did you ever hear that?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Mr. Rankin, let's keep this simple, sir. Somebody's got to pay this bill. The phone is in your room. If the phone had been in your room and been in your name, you would have had to have paid the phone bill. And then if you felt that somebody in an unauthorized fashion used your phone, you would go and sue them, right?
That's correct.
But you don't say to the telephone company, listen, Ma Belle, I didn't make the phone calls from my phone. Somebody else did it. You pay the bill, and then you pursue whatever other remedies you have. You are responsible to safeguard the phone in your room. Not her. She was doing you a favor. Why should she be out $1,059? Is there any reason?
No, there's not a reason
Good.
she should be out.
Judgment in the case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,059.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Out the back door to your right, please.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Everybody's not like Tim. There is nice people out there. I went ballistic. Yeah, I was very, very surprised, shocked, mad, angry, really, really upset.
He had stolen my daughter's clothes before. I also have sex letters where he signed up for sex calls.
Right.
And I have pictures to prove what kind of person he is.
I was used and abused.
Gatewood is suing 29-year-old photographer Nicole Boughton for false arrest.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 282 on the calendar in the matter of Gatewood versus Boughton. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Have a seat,
All right.
gentlemen.
Let's see if I can unravel this rather complicated complaint. Mr. Gatewood, you and Miss Boughton were friends in 1995.
Yes.
And in that year, you sold her a used car.
Yes.
How much did you sell her the car for?
A sum of $2,000.
And she was supposed to repay you at the rate of $250 a month. Is that right? Yes.
Yes.
And you say in your answer that he was pretty reasonable about late payments and that sort of thing.
Right.
But you were paying off this car. What kind of car was it?
A VW Bug.
They're cute.
Yeah.
Right? So there came a time sometime a couple of years later when she hadn't been making her payments and you were worried about the insurance on the car. You decided to repossess the car.
Yes.
So in the still of the night, without telling her, right?
Oh, no. There was a
tell her you were going to repossess the car?
letter sent to her, yes.
That said what? If you don't, I will?
What?
If you don't pay, I will repossess the car, right?
Right.
But then you didn't tell her when you were going to repossess the car. Day and date.
It gave her till the end of the month, which was...
Mr. Gatewood, do you understand what I'm saying to you? You didn't tell her when you were going to repossess the car.
The exact day and time, and no.
Right.
No.
So, without telling her when you were going to repossess the car, this former friend of yours, you went to where the car was parked.
Yes.
And took it.
Yes.
And the registration was still in your name.
Yes.
Because that was your arrangement.
Yes.
She did what any normal person would do, getting up in the morning. You looked outside and you saw...
No car.
So you...
Called the cops.
You got arrested.
Pulled over, yeah.
For stealing your own car.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
What people do to each other and to themselves. This is really so fascinating. I was fascinated when I read this complaint. Now, ultimately, it was okay because you spoke to the police and were able to convince them that it was your car.
Yes.
How long were you in custody?
About an hour and a half.
Was it scary?
Yeah, to say the least.
You ever been arrested before?
Never. I've never even darned bracelets.
What? Did they actually put you in handcuffs?
Yeah, I was on my knees and they put me in cuffs.
Tell me about that. I'm really curious to know.
I was driving home and I noticed the cop following me, and I eventually made it home, and I pulled into my parking lot, or my carport, and I get the lights, and I'm thinking, okay, what's this all about? And I get out of the car, and I get this spotlight in my eyes, and he says, throw the keys to the ground. I'm like, okay. He's like, turn around, put your hands on your head. I'm like, okay. And then he says, walk backwards towards my voice. And I did. He says, stop. And I feel something on my back, and he says, get on your knees. I'm like, execution time. And they cuffed me. And I'm like, am I under arrest? And he says, no, you're in custody. I said, can you please explain the difference to me?
Did you say that to him?
Yes.
Did he have a sense of humor?
Not at this time. And so he says, can you explain to me instead why you're driving a stolen vehicle? I said, this isn't a stolen vehicle, this is my vehicle. And he says, what's your name? And I said, Guy Gatewood. He says, well, you got that part right. Then, explain this to me.
Had you known at that time that she had called the police?
No. No. This is just like completely...
So what you were suing her for is for having called the police and having had you arrested falsely.
Mm-hmm.
So you want some damages for that. And then you want some money for the car.
There's still a balance due on it.
Okay. Well, first let's take care of the car business, and then we'll get into this arrest business, because I have to figure out exactly how much, if anything, you're owed on the car, because she says that she paid money towards the car, and she is countersuing you for the car, and then you're countersuing him, Miss Barton, for some nonsense, which I categorize as nonsense, which is the emotional distress of not having your car. Something like that, which I'm not even going to think about because that's a lot of baloney. Now, how much did you pay for this VW Bug, sir?
How much did I pay for it?
That was my question. I'm sure you have an answer.
Initially, when I got the car, I paid $500. I then fixed the car up, put a brand new motor in it, fixed the body, did the interior as well. It came to about $2,400.
Let us assume, for the moment, you paid $2,300 for the car.
Okay.
All right? How many payments did you make on this car?
I had about 2 more payments left. I owed him about $600 more on the car.
How many payments did she make on the car?
She made 4 payments on the car. She only owed $425 on the car.
So she paid you in total how much?
$1,575.
Okay. And how much money did you sell the car for, sir? Because your complaint says that you sold the car after you repossessed
Yes,
it.
I've resold the Volkswagen for $200.
Why?
For the condition that it was in when I got it back, it wasn't worth much more than that.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
The idea that he came at night and took it was a total passive-aggressive, miserable move that is typical of Guy Gatewood.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Guy Gatewood says he was embarrassed when he was handcuffed and led away after he repossessed Nicole Boughton's car. Now he wants payment for the car and the emotional distress.
Who did you sell it to?
A neighbor downstairs for his wife so she could go back and forth to work.
Let me see the bill of sale. What year Volkswagen was this?
It's a 71 Super Beetle.
Mr. Gatewood.
Yes.
You were driving this car when the police pulled you over.
Yes, I was.
Where were you driving it from, sir?
I was driving it from Shooter's Bar in Huntington Beach.
What is the distance between this barn and your home?
2 miles.
And how long had you been driving the car from the time you repossessed it until the time they repossessed you?
It was stored most of the time. Maybe 2 or 3 times I took it out to keep it running. I also have another Blazer and a motorcycle that I use frequently.
Now, Mr. Gatewood, just because you do a bill of sale for $200, sir, doesn't mean that I believe that you sold this car for $200, because the car was clearly a drivable vehicle. Drivable vehicle, cute little car, almost vintage, you know, 71 VW Bug. Was a convertible or not?
No, it's not convertible.
So just because you wrote $200 here doesn't necessarily mean I believe that you were paid $200 for it in total.
I'm not the only signature on that statement.
You're talking about the buyer?
The buyer also.
Oh, well, it would certainly serve. The buyer would certainly say that he only paid $200 for the car, because that means his tax when he has to register the car is a lot less. People do that all the time. It's wrong and it's illegal, but people do it all the time when they sell cars that are used cars. They say, hey, listen, put down $200, I'll give you $800 for the car, and then I only have to pay tax on $200. You understand that, Mr. Gatewood?
I understand your point of view.
Now, what did you, after you found out that the car wasn't there, you called the police. When did you realize that he had taken the car?
About 3 days after I made the report. I didn't hear from him. I called him as soon as I called the police. I was like, your car's been stolen. I know I still owe you money on it. I'll pay you the money I owed on it, but just to let you know, it's been stolen. So if you get any calls about it being found, then call me back. I didn't hear from him.
And he didn't tell you that he had taken the car?
No.
Right?
Right.
Right.
That...
I was told by legal advice not to speak with her.
Just a second.
Sure.
She told you that she had reported the car stolen.
No, she didn't tell me that she
What
called
did she
the police.
say?
She left on the answering machine. She goes, I don't know if you have the car or not, but it's not up here. Give me a call. And that was it.
And did you call her?
No.
Well, didn't you think that she might call the police and report the car stolen?
Yes, but I didn't think they'd take a stolen police report without proof of ownership.
Well, then, that's your problem, Mr. Gatewood, so I'm dismissing that part of your complaint for having you arrested, because it seems to me she did the right thing by calling you immediately, and if you wanted to be smart, you could have had a friend or someone else call her and say, he doesn't want to speak to you personally, he has the car. When did you find out that he had possession of the car?
Like I said, it was about 3 days after. When he didn't call and tell me, make any comment about it being stolen, is when I knew that he must have taken it. I mean, because that's a part of his character that I wouldn't doubt. So a friend of mine was like, do you think he took it? And I'm like, you know, he's just miserable of enough person to have done that, but I'm not going to call him until I chill out, because I was pissed. I had no notification.
Say, listen to me, you're in court. Try angry.
Angry. I was angry. I was out of control. No, I wasn't out of control. I was just angry. I was amazed that he could have done anything so low without any notification. But like I said, it's part of the nature that I knew of him.
So what did you do? Did you call the police?
I called the police and I said, I made a report a couple days ago. This is the number. Scratch that report. He goes, well, was the car stolen or wasn't it stolen? I said, well, it was taken without notification by its registered owner, so I don't know if you'd call that stolen. But it's not stolen. It's in the owner's hands. When I got a call from the Huntington Police Department a couple months later saying, we recovered your car, I knew something definitely went wrong with the reports. I called him immediately. I'm like, Guy, I need to talk to you about your car. There's some problems. If you need my help with anything, call me, and I will totally help you straighten it out. I never heard from him.
He should have told you. He should have notified you immediately that he had repossessed the car. That's what you do when you repossess a car. You tack a notice on the door. This property has been repossessed.
I sent her a registered letter.
Did she pick it up?
She refused it.
Can I see it?
It was...
Well, that's all right. She refused it, so there was no notice. If you had a receipt that she had received it, that's one thing. Why didn't you just leave a message on her machine that you had the car, sir?
Because I couldn't prove that she would acknowledge the fact that she received any information from me.
You could have done both. Right? You could have done both, you know?
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
You buy a used car that's 25 years old. Listen, anything that reaches 25 years old starts to go downhill. Believe me, I know. You know, every year it gets a little bit worse.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Guy Gatewood says Nicole Boughton owes him for a car and a false arrest. Nicole says Guy owes her for payments and repairs she made on the car.
In any event, Mr. Gatewood, I'm really sort of surprised that you repossessed the car anyway, since she owed you just a couple of $100s on the car.
I waited 9 months, 3 of which she lived with me, to receive any form of further payment towards it, and there was nothing coming in. I sent her a letter saying, you know...
What do you mean she lived with you? She lived with you as boyfriend and girlfriend,
no,
or she lived with you as a tenant?
She was a tenant in one of my... I had a spare bedroom. She rented it out.
And while she was living with you, she was driving this car, and she
Yes.
and she did not make any payments.
No.
But then she moved out. But she paid you almost everything that was owed on the car.
75% of the thing, yes.
How long did you have the car?
I don't know, about a year and a half, year?
2 years, almost.
Yeah. We can talk about the repairs of this perfect car that I paid twice of what it was worth when I first bought it, and I had to immediately put in at least $1,000 on this perfect car. That the money went to his buddies at his garage who charged me so much for repairs.
Didn't. Just a second. Nobody forced you to go to his garage, right?
Well, I thought they
Ms.
would.
Barton, nobody forced you to go to his
You're right.
garage.
You're right.
And when you buy a used car that's 25 years old.
But when it's supposedly in good condition,
What everybody
in
says.
great condition.
Everybody says it's a cream puff. Isn't that the right word? It's a perfect car.
Anyway, he knew of these repairs, and that's why he wasn't getting some of the car payments on time, was because I was putting so much money into fixing this cream
Listen,
puff.
he's not your partner in this tragedy.
What's that?
He's not your partner in this car tragedy. You buy a used car that's 25 years old. Listen, anything that reaches 25 years old starts to go downhill. Believe me, I know. You know, every year it gets a little bit worse, right? Cars are no different from people. So you buy a 25-year-old car, you be prepared, even if the owner of the car says it's in great shape, to pay whatever it is. If you get disgusted paying for the repairs, then you sell it. But you don't charge it off. Because a bank wouldn't understand if you went to a bank and you say, well, I had to pay repairs for the car, and I had to pay my phone bill, and I had to pay this, and I had to pay that, so I can't pay you this month. They wouldn't have tolerated it. But I have a problem, because you two clearly knew each other. You were friends. You knew each other for a long time. She lived in your house. And Mr. Gatewood, I don't understand why you treated this in nothing more than what apparently is an arm's-length transaction by going and repossessing the car, not notifying her immediately. Not notifying her immediately. Even if you send her a registered letter, that takes a couple of days to get there. Any normal person coming out of their house not seeing their car would call the police. Then you are at risk, sir. So you caused that problem yourself by repossessing the car without advising her that you were going to do it, or at least repossessing the car at midnight, tacking a notice on our door. I have, in fact, repossessed the car. If you have any problem with that, I'll see you in court. Whatever it is. But you didn't do that. So if you got arrested, that's your problem. So that part of your lawsuit is dismissed. And the only thing that I have to try to figure out is who owes who money for this car.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
Now, you have any proof that you paid $2,300 for this car?
That was all in parts, receipts, stuff like that.
Well, let me see.
I did bring anything like that with me because I didn't feel it would be necessary for today.
And you say you bought it for $500?
Yes.
So let's see how much you made. So you don't have any proof of how much you put in to have it fixed for me. So let's say you put in nothing. So you bought it for $500. You got $1,575 from her, and you got another, according to you, $200 from your neighbor. 5, 7, 12. So far, you got $1,775 for a car that you paid $500 for. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Now, on the other hand, Miss Barton, you had the use of a car for almost 2 years.
Right.
At about $750 a year, right?
Plus all the repairs.
That's what happens when you have a car. You do repairs on a car when you have a car. So for $750 a year, you had basic transportation.
Basic, very basic.
Did you have another car or just this car?
It was great.
It was great. So that seems to me as if, that's nice, 12 months. That was, that's what, less than $50 or $50, $60 a month to own a car? That's not bad. You have insurance for this car?
Not anymore.
Did you have?
Did I have?
Paid up insurance all the time?
All the time, no, not all the time.
Well, that was one of the reasons he repossessed the car, right?
I don't know.
Just a second.
He had more excuses for taking the car.
Let me ask you a question. No, he's very clear in his complaint. He says he was concerned because the car's in his name, and you told him you didn't have money to keep up the insurance. So he was afraid if he got into an accident in this car, they were going to come and take away his other car and everything else that he owns, right? So you didn't have insurance on the car,
okay?
Right? Mm-hmm. Oy. Sounds to me as if you made out okay, Mr. Gatewood, in the sale of the car. Sounds to me, Miss Barton, that you brought on some of this on your own, had no insurance on a car. You certainly weren't going to get stuck if the car was in an accident or if you hurt somebody. He was going to get stuck. He's the registered owner, and you have nothing because you couldn't even make the car payment, so they couldn't go after you. So it sounds to me as if you two folks absolutely deserve each other. Your complaint is dismissed. Your countersuit is dismissed. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
He knows me really well. He knows I'm a very distracted artist. He could have made it a little bit more clearly without being so passive-aggressive about, look, I really don't appreciate what situation you've put me into. He never communicated anything with me like that.
Wow.
Whatever's in the past is in the past. Everything ends the way it's supposed to end.
Ventura seriously injured him when he hit him with a skateboard during an all-out fight at a party.
Order, all rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please, all rise. Your Honor, this is case number 238 on the calendar in the matter of Brazos versus Ventura. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated.
Mr. Brazos, according to these papers, you claim that the defendant assaulted you by hitting you with a skateboard. You were severely injured. You want him to pay for your medical and dental bills, as well as pain and suffering.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
Tell me when this happened.
Friday the 13th, 1996.
Okay. Tell me what happened.
Okay. First, we were having a party at my house, and he was there.
Who's he?
Jimmy's brother, I believe. That's his brother.
This young man here.
Yes.
Okay.
He was there, and he came and peed on our lawn. Some of the party goers at the party didn't like it, so they confronted him and said, "Why'd you do that?" And I guess there's some push came to shove, and they started fighting, and they chased him off the lawn. And
The brother?
Yeah. And then he came back shortly later, about 10 minutes later, with Jimmy and about 20 people. and they're all wearing white tank tops and had tattoos and shaved heads. Some were holding pipes and bats. And there was about 10 people left at the house having the party with me. And then all of a sudden, him and his brother rushed the house. Jimmy was one of them. Jimmy grabbed a skateboard, hit me in the head, and I fell to the ground. And he walked away, and I walked to the next house and went and got treatment for my mouth.
Was he arrested?
No, he wasn't.
Well, he was at one point arrested because there's a criminal trial going on.
Yeah,
Is that right?
Later on, I think about 4 or 5 days later, he was arrested.
Did he come to be arrested? Did you identify him?
Yes. I went down to the police station and picked his picture out and a list of people.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay. One night, on Friday the 13th, okay, he had a party. He had 2 kegs and 4 bands. My brother was supposed to go out to the party because he was invited by my uncle. And they jumped my brother. A bunch of people jumped him. I wasn't there.
Step up here. You're a gunner?
Yes, sir.
Did you use his lawn as a bathroom? Come on, let's go.
All right, well, I was invited to his birthday party by my uncle. I went out there, my friend took a pee on his lawn, and then they got around him, huddled around him. I went over there to try to settle it. A guy got in my face, and I was in about this close to my face. I pushed him, and then I struck with a bat in the head and the side. And then I was basically gang rushed down the street, and that's where I went and caught my breath.
You caught your breath. And when did you call your brother?
I didn't call him.
I never seen him at all that night. He left. Supposedly he got jumped. I was walking through the apartments, and this is how I found about it. My uncle told me that Gunner might have gotten jumped. So I saw Tim, I guess, whatever his name is, with a group of people, like about 40 guys, sit in front of his house laughing on how they beat some guy up. I took off. I was with 2 girls that I was with all night, and I went to their house. And I sat there, and I saw my mom, Elaine. She drove by she was going down the street, and I saw, I'm like, what is she doing out here, 3 o'clock in the morning? But anyways, I came up to the scene, and I saw my mom trying to break up a fight, and some guy cold clocked my mom, like, leveled her out. She got a broken nose. She got, fat lip, and I ran in there, and I socked the guy that hit my mom.
It wasn't this young man.
No, it wasn't even him.
Yeah.
But that was the only thing that I came into this fight. I hit the guy that hit my mom.
I'm looking at this. You say in your answer, sir, that there was another fight 4 days later.
Yeah, there was.
When he got beat up, and he wants me to pay because the apartments belong to my grandmother and Tim smells money. So according to you, the injuries that he sustained happened 4 days later. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Can I see your medical reports, please?
Sure.
The statement that you make here is that he got beat up 4 days later.
Yeah, he got beat up 4 days later.
He got beat up 4 days later, and he wants you to pay for it. It's not true, because the first medical report of injury was the morning of this incident. This incident happened late at night on the 13th.
Yes.
And his first report of injuries was on the 14th, which means that this stuff that you suggest about his being beaten up 4 days later and he just wants you to pay for it because he feels as if your family has money, I want you to put that out of your mind. His injuries were sustained on the 13th. Now, you are Mrs. Schwartz?
Yes.
Step up, please. You're their mother?
Yes, I am.
What do you know about this evening?
This boy has falsely identified because this boy wasn't there but 5 minutes. I don't doubt that Tim didn't get hit by somebody, but it wasn't by this young man right
You
here.
don't know that.
I was there the whole time, Your Honor.
No, you weren't.
He was
Yes,
hit?
I was, Your Honor. I was there the whole
Schwartz,
time.
you weren't there the whole time.
Yes, I was there the entire time.
Tim said he got
All
hit.
the way until when the officers told us to go home.
I thought you got hit.
I did
She
get
did.
hit.
We sat
And
and talked to
just a
cops
second,
for 4
when you got
hours.
hit, where were you?
I was
On the
right
ground?
in front of their apartment,
Were
right
you-
where he says he claims he got
Were
hit.
you on the ground?
Pardon?
Were you on the ground? Pardon.
Yeah, not the entire night.
I
was
didn't
hit.
say
I
on
was
the entire
knocked
night.
out.
I said down. Were you knocked down?
Yes, I was.
So when you were knocked down, you were on the ground. You didn't see what was going on all around you.
No, but I wasn't down for that long.
Mr. Schwartz.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
So for one, I didn't hit him, but anyways, if you think about it, can you run 20 feet with a skateboard and have a skateboard truck and only chip one tooth? Can you do that? It's quietly impossible.
Would you believe this? You missed the point, sir.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Timothy Brazos claims Jimmy Ventura injured him when a party erupted into a neighborhood brawl.
Mr. Schwartz, what I'm telling you is, you did not see what was going on around you all the time. That doesn't mean that I am yet convinced that this was the person who hit you, sir. And I don't doubt the fact that you got hit.
Mm-hmm.
Because in your complaint,
Mm-hmm.
you say, because I read it very carefully, my back was turned to him when I got hit.
Well, I meant my side. You know, I was like,
What
I
you
was
meant,
like this.
sir, in your sworn complaint, and what you wrote,
Mm-hmm.
then are two different things, because you swore to this. You want to see it?
No, I know what I know what I wrote.
You said, the reason I should win is I did not hit him at all. My back was turned to him when I got hit.
Well, yeah. I mean, my side was turned to him. I'm more like my back. As I got hit, I could see who hit me.
You mean, sir, listen to me. And I'm not saying that it definitely was not this young man.
Uh-huh.
You have just told me that you never saw him before.
Mm-hmm.
That night was the first night you saw him.
Mm-hmm.
That there was a lot of confusion going on because there are lots of people out there, 40 people from your side, from the other group's side, so there are a lot of people, a lot of commotion. According to your own statement, you had a couple of beers that night. You didn't want to get blotto drunk, but you'd had a couple of beers that night. So you'd had something to drink.
Mm-hmm.
It was late at night because the party was in the process of winding down. And your back was turned towards the person who hit you. So what you're telling me is, in the split second that you turned around, you saw this young man, and you are able to 100% say to me today, you are absolutely positive that this was the person who assaulted you with the skateboard.
Yes, because after he hit me, I saw who it was. He walked away, and I saw him.
He walked away. You fell to the ground when you were hit?
I fell to my knee and my arm.
You fell to the knees in your arm, and the person who hit you...
He was standing right there waiting for me to get up. I didn't get up for about 3 or 4 seconds.
Oh, you didn't tell me that before. You said they were walking away. Why would they be standing right over you?
To see if I'd get up and probably attack him back. Because he'd probably want to be ready if I would do something like that. But that's not what happened. He was right there after he hit me. He hit me. I got up. As I was getting up, I'm looking at him the whole time. He's standing there, you know, kind of backing away. And then he just goes off in his way, and I run upstairs in the house. My brother saw that happen.
Did you have skateboards in your house?
Yeah, they were on the lawn. It'd be very easy for him to grab one and hit me. I know for a fact it was him.
I'm not sure.
I'm positive. I'm 100% positive.
Okay, he says that I hit him and I took off. Well, if he would have known and he knew what I was wearing, which he doesn't, because he said I was wearing a white striped shirt, I was sitting in front of those stairs for 4 hours talking to cops.
And that's not what he was wearing. And if he's
And that's
so
not
positive,
what I was wearing. When he
Your
said
Honor,
to court, in court, I saw him, he's wearing a white shirt. I was not wearing a white shirt.
I never said he was
that
wearing a
night.
white shirt. I said he was wearing a striped shirt.
You said it's in your
That's
testimony in the
testimony that
criminal
he's wearing a
case.
striped shirt.
Listen to me.
It says a white
After
striped
this
shirt,
happened,
t-shirt.
wrong.
After this happened,
We've
Well,
got
that's
the
what he said.
transcript.
after this whole
Should've brought it.
altercation, were you sitting, you say you were sitting and talking to the police?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I sat
Hey,
there
Mr.
for 4
Schwartz,
hours.
stop it. I'm talking to him. You say you were sitting and talking to the police where?
Right on the stairs. We sat down right when my mom got hit. I showed up right when she got hit. I wasn't even there before when the fight started. I came up when the fight was already going on. I came up and I saw my mom get hit, and I hit the guy that hit her. I got maced. We both sat down on the stairs, supposedly where he says he ran up the stairs, whatever. I sat there. We were sitting there, and the fight was still increasing. I was still sitting there. The cops come up. My mom had she had like blood coming from her nose, and she had a fat lip, and so we were sitting there, and she was getting taken care of. that the ambulance came up and we were talking to him, and we sat there for 4 hours.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
It doesn't make sense to me that her own son struck her, sir. Common sense would dictate to me that that did not happen.
In the case involving Mrs. Schwartz and her sons, there was no common sense involved.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Timothy Brazos is suing Jimmy Ventura for injuries suffered during a neighborhood brawl. Jimmy is countersuing for pain and suffering, loss of education, and financial hardship.
Did they ever apprehend the person who hit you?
No, they didn't.
Yeah, we tried to tell my
We
mom,
tried to tell them who hit me.
and they would not listen
They wouldn't
to us
listen.
at all.
That sounds very peculiar to me.
This whole thing is peculiar.
No, just a second. That sounds very peculiar to me. I mean, here you have a woman who's in charge of a building complex, who apparently is injured when the police arrive, and the police will not take your complaint about the person who hit you?
No. All they kept saying is their side, Tim and his roommates, kept saying that Jimmy was the one that hit me. And I was trying to convince...
Jimmy was the one that hit you?
Yes.
You mean your son was
Yes.
the one who hit you?
That's what they were, that's what
what
they
were
were
trying to
saying.
say. They try to say...
That's what they were saying the whole night, that Jimmy's the one who hit me, not Tim. He hit me. And the fella that hit me, if he's so sure it was Jimmy, then who I'm sure
Did
has hit
anybody
me is
suggest
him.
to the police
Because the boy
that-
that hit me was that boy's size right there.
No, Mrs. Schwartz, this boy didn't. He didn't hit you. Come on,
The
get
boy
it together.
that hit me was as tall as him.
Good.
But I won't 100% identify him because I didn't see him. It happened too
That's-
quick. But it
that's
was
right.
he was a tall, big boy.
Okay. Did anybody suggest that this woman was assaulted by her own son?
No.
Huh?
No.
It's in the police
Did
report.
you? Let me see
I
the
didn't
police
suggest
report.
it.
I didn't bring it.
It should have been
Well,
all of
because
You're the father.
Yes.
You know anything about this?
Yes.
I'm going to hear you.
I just recently retired from the Los Angeles Police Department, and I had contact that night with my son, and then I contacted Lewis Martin, who's the detective handling the case in Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office. And as she stated, there were independent wits from the commotion that was going on outside that did, in fact, is in the police report that she was struck by her own son during the melee.
Oh, just a second.
Just to let you know that part.
No, you can't let me know that. I don't know that. I don't know unless I hear a witness who saw it.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes. I
Because you understand that.
Yes.
And it doesn't make sense to me that her own son struck her, sir. Common sense would dictate to me that that did not happen.
In the case involving Mrs. Schwartz and her sons, there was no common sense involved.
Oh, I believe that there's common sense and logic involved in this whole thing. I believe that there was a party.
Yes.
I believe that this young man came uninvited. I believe that he brought somebody else with him that was also uninvited to the party. I believe that the other person he invited to the party went outside, either with him or without his assistance, and urinated on the lawn right in front of the house. I believe that there was some altercation.
Yes.
Because there were some guests at the party that were irate at what they saw because here were uninvited guests using the front lawn of your home as a toilet. Clearly inappropriate.
Yes.
I even believe he probably got roughed up a little bit and went home and got a whole group of people. Probably included in that group was his brother, who came back to the house looking for nothing but trouble. So far, it's as clear as a bell to me. The only thing that's not 100% clear to me, sir, is whether your son could make an appropriate identification.
I can clear that up.
Hmm?
I can clear that up.
Go ahead.
Okay, before this night, I've never seen him before. I would have no reason to pick his face out of a 6-person lineup. I'd never seen him before that night. How would I go into the sheriff's station and pick his face out of a lineup, even if I've never seen him before? And if he's not the one, if he's the one who hit me, I'd pick him out for sure.
Well, how long have you been living in that complex?
At the time, about a month. He never came by before,
Had
ever.
you seen him before?
Never.
That's not true.
The other brother.
He
I
saw both
saw
of my
him.
sons when he was at
No.
my house signing contracts.
We used to do maintenance work
I saw
on
him.
apartments.
One day when we came there with one of my roommate's parents, I saw Gunner walk to his room. That's the only person I ever saw.
Didn't
I
see
never
the
saw
other
Jimmy.
brother.
Never.
You have a photograph of the lineup?
No. but the police made me pick it, and they brought it to a civil criminal trial.
Pick it.
Explain to me, sir, exactly what was shown to you when you came into the police station.
I went to the police station.
4 days later, you went into the police station.
Mm-hmm. And he showed me a
Who's he?
The police officer.
Martin.
Yes.
Detective Martin showed me a list. There were 6 people on this paper, on this photo thing, and he was one of them. And I picked out the guy that I saw hit me, just like that. I don't know who the other 5 people were.
And you had never seen him before?
Never.
For one, I didn't hit him, but anyways, if you think about it, can you run 20 feet with a skateboard and have a skateboard truck and only chip 1 tooth? Can you do that? It's quietly impossible.
Could you believe this?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You missed the point, sir.
No, that's what
Either they have convinced me by a preponderance of the evidence that you were the one who hit him, or they haven't. And whether his head got cracked open, or whether he chipped 1 tooth, or whether he doesn't have one of his own teeth in his mouth as a result of that is really not the issue. The issue is, did you hit him?
No, I didn't hit
And
him.
quite
It's a lie.
frankly, he has convinced me that you did. All right, what were your unreimbursed medical expenses, sir?
Okay, and that's where my dad was here. He knows exactly how that went.
Yes,
Out
sir.
of pocket, I lost about $1,600 approximately, and we have an $800 root canal due on the same tooth because it died.
Well, the only question is, what are the damages for pain and suffering? Because your unreimbursed bills, you certainly are entitled to. Because I find that there is sufficient evidence by a preponderance of the evidence so that I am satisfied that based on the fact that you picked him out of a lineup, and the lineup was a 6-person photographic lineup, and I am satisfied that you had not seen him before. I believe you that you had not seen him before. So there would have been no reason for you to pick out this person who just happens to be the brother of the person who had an argument with your partygoers a few hours before. There would have been no reason for you to pick him out. That coupled with the fact that usually when someone is injured, they want the right person arrested. They want the person who caused them pain to suffer, right?
Right.
So you would not like to identify the wrong person. It would have been just as easy for you to identify this person because he had been there. Did not. You identified somebody who you had never seen before, him. So I'm satisfied that by a preponderance of the evidence, you have established that he caused you injury. And I'm giving you what you're suing for, which is $5,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Well, how come I was
Out the back door to your right. Excuse me, step out this
Judge
way.
Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
This whole thing.
This boy was so out of it that he has falsely identified this boy. He's cost us my home, our jobs, and this boy's education. We want to thank you all very, very much.
Okay, hello guys, what's up? কি অবস্থা guys?
Double kill. Double kill.
এবার ঠিক আছে ঠিক আছে বন্ধু এবার খেলা হবে আমি তো এটাই চেয়েছিলাম দেখা যাক এবার বোম টোম ঠিক মতো মারতে পারলে তাহলে না জমতো
Medkit for everybody.
চলো বোমই মারবো প্রথমে গিয়েই বোম মারবো দেখি ওরা আসে কোন দিক দিয়ে। আরে ভাই আমার পিছন দিয়ে ঢুকে পড়ছে, আমি খেয়ালই করতে পারিনি। আমার গানগুলো সব হারাইলাম।
Double kill. Triple kill.
ওপি বুয়া বুয়া। সিগমা ভায়োলেশন কি ভায়োলেশন করছে বুঝলাম না। হতেও পারে, কারণ আমি তো অ্যাবনর্মাল কিছু দেখি নাই, তবে হতেও পারে, কারণ কাউকে দিয়ে ভরসা নাই, কাউকে দিয়ে কোনো ভরসা নেই। হতেও পারে, নাও হতে পারে, আই ডোন্ট নো। ওকে, চলো নতুন একটা ম্যাচ স্টার্ট করে দিলাম আমরা। গাইস দেখা যাক, আমরা কিন্তু অলরেডি ম্যাচ স্টার্ট করে দিয়েছি এবং আমাদের এখানে আব্বা কিডা একজন আছে, বাইজিৎ আছে, তামিম আছে। এখন বাকিটা খেলার উপর নির্ভর করতেছে সবাই কেমন খেলবে সেটার উপরে। সবাই একটু ভালো করে খেলো তাহলে খেলাটা জমে যাবে। দুইজনে মিলে আমার মারছে। আচ্ছা বাদ দাও, ওটা করার কিছু না, চেষ্টা করছে। ও ভাই ভালো খেলছে আমাদের টিমমেট গুলা।